back with another video. And today I'll be discussing see why people fall in love with Pisces, then get mad when they can't control them. Well, like I was referring to yesterday, can be this way. Now, I'm gonna break this down for y'all and I'm gonna let you guys know the reasons why people fall in love with Pisces. But one thing about it is people think that Pisces is some sort of real estate, meaning they don't understand we have a free spirit, even with all that empathy, intuition, like everything that come with a Pisces, we still have a free spirit. So that means we won't be owned. Now, a Pisces attitude toward a situation could be, hey, you're not my boss. And this could be felt with people on a day-to-day basis, no matter who you're dealing with. So you could get into a situation where you giving all that compassion, empathizing, and then all of a sudden your partner starts trying to give you orders. Or you could be friends with somebody and they're trying to tell you what to do, or hey, take my keys and go do this. And I say that to say, well, welcome Sedona, welcome. I say that to say because at that very moment that's where it stops, because Pisces emotionally ends up checking out. Now, Pisces see through the manipulation. So here, Pisces are somewhat investigators, okay, because they are intuitive observers and they can really peep things that are hidden in plain sight. Because one thing about one thing about this is that when you look at manipulation, it sounds like a word that's used in a way that's like malicious. It just sounds bad, right? Just from hearing it and how it sounds. At least I see it that way. Maybe y'all might see it a different way. Now, when you are a Pisces, you can see right through the manipulation because, like I say, you might even smile at who's doing it because you are aware. You have the knowledge and the information that they're doing it. You may say things like, yo, nice try. And the guilt trips and the mind games don't work on you because, again, you see that as well. Now, this can make a Pisces just disappear from you when you do these things, because manipulation is one of them things that you can't let slide. It's like if a person lights a match and it's like they're trying to start a fire, and as long as you keep going back and forth with them and why they got the matches, they're still trying to light the sucker. So it's like you you got to look at disappearing is better than explaining. Why are you why are you trying to manipulate me, or why are you being manipulative? So we rather not do that. Now, a Pisces will need emotional freedom, so they could be deep feelers. And if things don't feel like they are able to do that, then they're just going to feel smothered. So that's why it could be a pet peeve of Pisces when it comes to texting continuously and someone constantly calling you. Just it could be texting or just, because it doesn't feel like a connection at that point. It feels like the person is hovering over you or trying to monitor you. See? So when people do this as well, the attraction dies. So now that could be another way why a Pisces would lead the situation. Now, Pisces hate being controlled, so we're independent thinkers. We feel like, hey, run your life, not mine. I have a life of my own, you and so do you. If someone tries to, take the lead in a friendship, a relationship, and they start trying to dictate the decisions, what is a Pisces going to do as a result? They're going to give that person and anyone else that's with them the silent rebellion. See, so Pisces notices the energy changes. He said Hassan Campbell. I don't even know who that is, man. Um, I don't really watch a whole lot of TV, but Pisces notices the energy changes, so they are very highly sensitive to it. Meaning, if something feels off, the Pisces can look at the situation like, wait a minute, is this person being passive aggressive with me? And it's like we can catch up on that. We can basically know that about if a person is doing so without them making it obvious, if that makes sense. So when this happens, as you're doing it, again, we're not going to explain much with you because at that moment glance, the trust is pretty much gone because it's going to evaporate as you're doing so. Now, we love deeply, but then we leave completely. So here, all or nothing is what we stand for. So once we're done, we're done. Why is this? Because the pattern. See, most of the time, if someone disrespects you, they will do it again. That's why most people get even more frustrated because once they give the person another chance, another shot at it, it begins to keep the cycle going, which means that it creates the pattern, and then it turns into the repeated disrespect. That's why Pisces will not even return after you do it once because it's like we know that if you get the chance to do, if we give you another chance, you're only gonna do what you're good at or what you know best. So we rather not even stick around. Now, Pisces value peace over drama, so they could be the type of person that avoids conflicts because they already have two that they're already working on, one within themselves and one on the outside of themselves. So that's why Pisces is not really prone to arguing with folks and endless fights because, a Pisces in their mind, they're like, okay, I could just emotionally detach from all of this, see, and be cool with it. A Pisces also remembers everything, so it could be any type of history of emotions from the past, from the present. So when you thought a Pisces forgot, they 9 times out of 10 they didn't. They could look at broken promises such as clothes that need to be washed. So for an example, it's like if there's dirty laundry, a Pisces will just say, okay, well, they would treat the dirty laundry like a pile of broken promises. So it's like, well, the Pisces from there is only going to get upset, because the resentment ends up building anyway. So that's why a Pisces really doesn't want to give you a second chance because of your character, your behavior. See, Debo said, "Why come white folk don't be putting no seasoning on their food?" I really think they not aware of what food, of the different seasonings. It's like if you knew if you knew how to, just like I'm gonna tell you, for instance, salmon is like something that's plenty. You could really mess up some salmon, like if you don't season it right, if you don't cook it right, it won't taste the same from how each person makes it. But it's like when seasonings come into play, it's not like the same. It's all about upbringing too, because if I always say if you come from a family that like to cook, and they cook often, and then you got greens, you got macaroni and that, and yams, and little stuff like that. But like some people don't know how to make yams because our people, they put, they ain't just using seasonings now. We can't say that they all about the salt and the pepper. Nah, man. They get to putting sugar and butter and all kind of extra shit in there that don't even need to be in there, but they doctor it up to make it taste better. But Yeah, I do see like I've seen some folks that have like they'll cook something and not put no seasonings in it just because they don't know that by adding them it's gonna taste better. Now, Pisces also love potential, the dreamer in itself. A Pisces can feel like, hey, I believed in you, and that whole thing could get a Pisces in trouble because the reality never matches the promises. So that fantasy in itself ends up dying altogether. Now, Pisces would test loyalty quietly. So as they begin to observe, they begin to, pick up on things, meaning the pattern. So they might say, okay, I was watching the whole time and I begin to notice that you're acting differently around me versus others. So that can make the respect, leave between the both of you. Why is this? Because Pisces needs, people to be authentic. We are truth seekers at heart. So, if a person stops performing, then all of a sudden the real them begins to show. And in that regard, it's those fake personalities. So that's why if this was to happen, there would be an emotional distancing that a Pisces would create between them and the other people that's doing that. Because another reason is that Pisces feel used quickly. Pisces are natural givers. So, you only call a Pisces when you need something. The Pisces is going to know, they're going to notice. So the reason why they would rather be alone most of the time is because of this, knowing that a friendship or a relationship could come with an attachment, meaning a one-sided effort being made, and it's like a Pisces will see that and just withdraw. Appreciate the hiding, uh, Lynn. Welcome. And see the thing about it, Pisces needs space. Why is this? Because Pisces needs to be able to reflect, meaning the light of which is shown or which is projected, and to know where it's coming from. And so they can't be smothered upon, they can't be, hovered upon, or just have people in their way while doing so because they have to breathe. Now, we know this to be true because clinginess is not for Pisces. That's for a Cancer. When it comes to clinginess, Pisces picks up on space immediately because we like to distance ourselves so we can observe you first before we even get even let you get that close to us. Even if it could just be something like you in a McDonald's lobby waiting to be served or waiting to be helped, and let's say people start coming in and the thing is getting full of folks. It's like somebody gets too close, you start to feel uncomfortable to where you start moving, and they get neck and neck, and then you end up moving across from them because you're trying to create space. Now, another thing is a Pisces, they hate being underestimated. So Pisces tend to have a more quiet confidence. So most people might might assume that the Pisces is not really doing much with their life because they're not bragging. They're not like Leo where they're putting on a performance about it, or, you know, just simply letting you know any info whatsoever. So you can assume that, oh, yeah, this Pisces ain't doing nothing with their life. Every time I see this person, they're doing this, that, and the other. So you can be slept on by other people, Pisces, because a lot of times people just dismiss you by what they see, you know, by what they see you doing from the day to day. But the secret is Pisces levels up and leaves. See, Pisces is like, okay, they may be doing all kinds of sorts of projects that nobody knows about because they're not talking about it. See, now a Pisces can feel fake love. So here they have a perception that's more related to their emotions. So by being this way, they can tell if your heart is not in it. So if they are with you, they may pick up on the empty affection, and that's going to just make them turn away from the situation because the connection dies. Now they hate invisible boundaries. So here, a Pisces could be patient, but then at the same time, the patience is limited because you're more prone to cross the line. See, so it's like if somebody doesn't set, that someone doesn't set clear boundaries or the ones you can see, then like I say, if a person crosses the line, what are they gonna do? They're gonna disrespect you. See, so people don't. People oftentimes get angry at Pisces because when we cut people off, and it could be a situation where we probably known you for a couple weeks, and you probably don't think it's fair that we just simply cut you off, but you got to remember you crossed the line, bro. See, it's like you overstepped the Pisces boundaries to the point where now we can only imagine the pattern, the cycle, because the person going to try to repeat themselves. They're going to try to do the same thing twice. So that's all in all. Pisces just outgrows the whole situation because if you guys didn't know, Pisces is an evolving soul, so that means they operate on a different frequency. So once the person grows, then the other stagnates. So that's why if a Pisces were to leave a situation, more than likely it's an emotional separation. Okay. Now, and also they don't need validation, so they are internally driven, meaning they will follow their intuition that's connected to their inner world. So here, a lot of times, people may say it's pride, but it's not so much pride. It's just that Pisces might, tell people, hey, I'm good. Don't worry about me because, hey, we had that self-control through our own, self-approval. So that's why a lot of people can't really do a whole lot of power struggles with us or just simply, power games because they just fail at it. Now, good morning, Sharice. How you doing? Subscribe if y'all haven't. Smash the like button. Trying to get this channel up to 20K possibly of subs. Now, another thing is a Pisces oftentimes will see the mask slip. So here, Pisces are more of a pattern recognition readers to where they pick up on patterns. So that's why it's harder for people to put on a facade. It almost as if that facade it can't survive. See, around Pisces because of Pisces seeing and just being aware of his cycles. So what does this mean? Well, if you know the facade is there to cover up the real you. So if you're being fake and you're not being your authentic self, well, when you come around a Pisces, that's when it all ends. See, because of the exposure. And then once you're exposed, you don't even want to put on the mask that you once had because now the real you showed up. See, so now it was revealed under the pressure of the Pisces being near you, around you, because they saw it, bro. So here, what else disappears? The attraction. Because that's why you might think you captivated everybody else's attention by being fake and phony and putting a mask on and trying to be something you're not, only to realize that, wow, this Pisces is not buying into it. That's why they know it's not real. They know it's not the real you. So that's why I said they are there to end the cycle. See, to get you to, show up the real you. Now, I'm not sure if I'm on, you said am I on mute? Let me see. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, anybody in the chat, can y'all hear me? Just let me know if y'all can hear me. Hey, can y'all hear me, bro? But okay. So Another thing is that a Pisces will finally choose themselves. So here, most of the time, they're self-sacrificing for others until they aren't. So, when enough is enough, it could be it could be years of Pisces giving to folks. All of a sudden, a Pisces is like, okay, I gotta, attend to myself. I gotta focus on myself. So sometimes when that happens, then it could be a point where the Pisces become unreachable because of it. See, now people oftentimes don't hate Pisces because they can't control them, but they hate that Pisces eventually sees through the illusion and chooses freedom over the attachment. See, so that's why that same independence that attracted you in the first place is usually uh what breaks your control. So that's why Pisces can love you deeply and still walk away when the peace costs less than staying or sticking around. That's why I tell people, like, bro, you can't, it's better to just be authentic when you are dealing with anyone, because people don't understand that you cannot rob somebody for compassion and loyalty and all these things by being something that you're not, because that's what most people try to do. They try to they try to get over. See, they try to get your trust and get those benefits right away. But the thing is, see, you got to be careful, because Pisces can do both. They can give you all this, compassion, loyalty, and then once you end up doing something that you end up showing your tail, then they can walk away from you, and it's like, damn, as if it wasn't even real. And it's like, well, hey, you crossed the line. I was all in until you crossed the line. That's why boundaries is important for Pisces, because it's like we cool with you until you cross the line. Now, another thing is, you know, when when you first meet a Pisces, the first thing you usually see is compassion. Okay, it is almost like, to a Pisces, they feel like they're doing you a favor, if anything, because probably other people ain't even giving you the time of day, listening to you speak, making you feel seen, making you feel heard. And it's like, a Pisces is like, okay, I could just shut you out. I could literally just leave, but I'm gonna stay and hear you out. It's like, even if a Pisces is waiting on a bus stop or a train, or waiting for a train, the person comes on the train looking for a conversation because they're lonely, or they got something they want to talk about. That could be, for instance. Now, here's the thing: when the Pisces make you feel accepted, then something changes, because the same person who loved your independence, now they want your obedience. So now it's almost as if you've given all of this, but in return, now the person wants to control you. See, as a result. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Why are you trying to control me? Because now the person wants every part of your life. They want every part of you. See how they get addicted, and they end up shape shifting and turning the whole situation into something else that was not presented in the first place, which shows what? A hidden motive. See? And it's like, oh, that's what you're trying to do. So when you met me, this was all, concocted. And this is why people will fall in love with your spirit. And then, my bad, y'all. People will fall in love with your spirit, and then now they want to control it. See? But that's why I say, like, that's where the problems begin, because Pisces can be loving, Pisces can be patient, Pisces can be forgiving. But the one thing is that when you are in somebody else's cage that someone else built, meaning those expectations, it's not gonna last, bro. It's not gonna last. So, like I say, now another thing I'm gonna talk about is that what ends up happening as a result of why it doesn't work. I say this because the mask slip. See, The expectations they broke, and the illusion died. So that's why most people, once they hold that illusion up and the facade, they realize that, damn, it's like, well, you should be happy because this is the real you. But no, people don't like to feel like, oh, when their plan didn't work, they don't want to face themselves. See, meaning reality of the situation. So a lot of times they don't understand that's what even makes you free in the first place. But it's like a person wants to use another vessel, another person, another spirit, rather than just being themselves, and they can be the same free spirit as the Pisces. But it's like most people don't want to put the work in, they don't want to do it themselves, if that makes sense. So another thing is that, okay, if if you were to lose a Pisces, okay, let's say if you were to lose a Pisces, would do you think that you would lose them because the Pisces stopped loving you? See, but it's not so much that, it's because you tried to obtain ownership over the Pisces. See, that's where you lost the Pisces at, because the Pisces like, hell no, you ain't finna control me because, you saw me doing all these good, kind, gestures and being compassionate. So it just, like I said, at the end of the day, it won't be any apologies, no excuses, and just the real deal from there. Now, now I want to explain this, okay, in theory. Now, when you go into a situation, meaning the framework. So everybody knows you have two eyes, two ears, one mouth. But one thing a lot of people don't notice is that this is how you were born. At least they forget. See, they're like, because it's one thing people don't even talk about. They don't even pay attention to this. Now, here's the thing I'm just trying to get you guys to see. You being born with two eyes, two ears, and only one mouth. And that's because you're supposed to spend more time observing and listening than talking, bro. It's a reason why you don't have two mouths. See, that means you ain't even supposed to be saying much. And that lets you know right there. That's why I say you ain't even supposed to be explaining things, bro. Unless it's necessary for you to explain, like school, or to give, your side, or you reading, and when it's necessary. Now, here's the thing. When you look at this, most people try to reverse it. They talk before they understand what's going on. They react before they observe, and they form opinions before they gather the facts. See? So that's how you know that deception survives. That's how you know that it's real. Deception is real. And that's why, bro, when it comes to you speaking, talking, here's the thing. When you're speaking, are you learning as well? No, you're not learning nothing when you're speaking. So that's why I say, when you're arguing, you're not observing. See, so when you're defending a belief, you're usually not questioning it. That means that your brain is on automatic, meaning it's not stick shift when it's automatic. So you're just going along with stuff. You're just doing stuff. You're just, meaning, that's why I say you don't have to be influenced. Most people just take advantage because you literally just too busy talking. Now, here's the thing. When you look at the ear to ear principle of what I was mentioning, the past couple days. See, a lot of people, they hear information, but they don't let it travel from one ear to the next. See, it's like you heard something, but you're not really listening to what you heard. So here it gets stuck. It gets stuck. Why is that? Because your emotions intercepted it. And as see, some stuff you just supposed to let go through your run through your ears, and that's it. Sometimes some people just hear something and then they hold on to it. And what if it's garbage? See, so there, what can block the very thing that you hear? The ego. The ego can intercept it. The desires intercept it. The fears intercept it. So that's why some people only hear what confirms what they already want to believe. That's why I said you're surrounded by illusions. And every time you think you're really getting to know someone, you're not getting to know nobody, but you're only seeing your reflection in the mirror. Because everybody is so selfish to a point where they only want to see themselves and other people anyway. So it's like you wouldn't even be someone's friend if they were so, so different from you because you want to hear your own, you want to hear your own horn toot. So it's like, oh, when you're overly consumed like that, you could be setting yourself up for a trap. See, so here to do this and let your ego intercept what you hear and letting that information be stuck in one ear is very dangerous because the truth requires you to process things. And you cannot do this while letting something just hang off in your ear and you're just holding on to it and don't know what to do with it. So it can't be a situation where only you depend on what you hear because anybody can say anything and not be the truth. So if you were to just hear words, what are you going to do with those words? That's why you got to have wisdom because wisdom comes from examining them, bro. It's like you got to know exactly what you're hearing. And it's like sometimes you might, freeze frame and just think to yourself, wait, why did this person say it like that? Because they meant it like that, but that meant something. So if you ignore this and you didn't question it, you just accepted what they said to you. And now you're all screwed up. So you misinterpret the whole thing. So what am I saying? You gotta simply test people, bro. You gotta test people. You gotta compare them to what? Reality, bro. See, to not get stuck in what they say to you, bro. That's why I always say that, bro, because let's say somebody tells you a lie and then you hear it. See, but let's say you like the lie. You like the lie they told. So now you just kept it. You kept it to one of your ears. Now what are you doing? You're repeating the lie. You're repeating the lie because you held on to the lie that you liked about what the other person told you. You're like, oh yeah, that was a good, yeah, I enjoyed it. Oh yeah, so my friend said that he bought a new snowblower with and it was a lie of a story, and you're like, oh, that was interesting, yeah, and then you go tell somebody else that same goddamn lie, as if, oh, guess what, my friend, yeah, he got a new snowblower, yeah, you can actually stand up and do all this extra stuff, and it's like, bro, why did you just go and tell that same lie that was told to you, as if it were some good knowledge? It wasn't even true. People do this all the time. So this is what I'm saying. You could be defending something that you never verified. See? So that means you were influenced. That person had control over you because you bought the lie. Instead of saying, you know what, this doesn't sound right. No, I don't, as a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen a snowblower that operates like that. See, and when you really entertain somebody you entertain a lie, meaning you accept it, now you look like a fool because, oh, this was not even real. And you already done soaked it up. Now, here's the thing. Once you defend something that you never verified, now you're emotionally invested in something that isn't true. Good morning, Thomas Fay. Welcome. What I'm talking about is why do you have two ears, two eyes, and one mouth? And yesterday I was discussing this, and I wanted to break it down further because I didn't do it yesterday. And a lot of people may have heard me, didn't even know what I was talking about. That's why I said, like, when I first started the channel, I didn't really want to do like I told myself that, hey, just give them baby spoonfuls. Don't just like give them the information or the knowledge that will go over their heads, because you can really say something to somebody and they just don't. They're asleep. They don't know. Oh man, I don't know what the hell he talking about. But hey man, there's a lot of people here. But it's like, bro, come on, man. It's like if you say something to somebody, yeah, I started off giving people, spoonfuls, and then now I'm like trying to give you all the meat. So um when you actually when you actually damn, when you actually understand what I'm saying, it makes sense. And it's like, if you look at this, if you start changing your perspective, you will start understanding why things happen. Now, when you okay, so let's say the worst case scenario, because when it comes to, okay, let's say that the lie. See, you can't, this is why you can't ignore the lie, because the lie became your identity. You held on to it, thinking it was the truth, sharing it like it was the truth. But all along, it was a lie. So here, we call this self deception, cold blooded. See, that's why you can't, it's so easy, because you get sucked up into this to where people are talking to you, hitting you with all kind of information that you're not examining. You're not examining it. And then you're just going along, just listening them, hearing them out. And then you end up taking it with you, see, to go tell someone else, thinking that, and the way you're talking, the way you're speaking about it, as if it really happened. And it didn't. That's where the bad thing is now this messes up your whole perception of things. See? Because what does it do? It creates a pattern. Then you start doing it with other people. Then you just keep doing it. And it's like, bro, you don't want that person to change your identity, is what I'm basically referring to. Now, let's say this in its most simplistic form, the simple way of looking at this: your ears collect information. Okay. Your mind is supposed to investigate it. So you cannot let information stop at one ear. See, you got to let it travel through the whole process, the thought pattern, before it leaves the other ear. See, you will recognize and know if somebody's lying to you if you do this. You'll say, that doesn't sound right. Well, I don't really know if that really happened. See, there's little things where you like catch it. See, now the easiest person to, I'll tell you, the easiest person to fool is the person who believes everything they hear, bro. And the craziest thing is people know who they can do this to. They've already, they've already witnessed it. They already done tried. They know, oh yeah, this person is a fool. They believe every little thing I ever say. So now this is who they'll use it on. Now, the second easiest is the person who only believes what they want to hear, which is a big, huge problem. Very, very dangerous to do this. So now, when you look at the two eyes, the two eyes that you have are there to observe. See? So two ears is to listen. One mouth is to speak. So the order of your framework matters, bro. You need it, bro. And the whole thing is, you can really screw this up. You can really screw this up. Think about if you were speaking and a person started speaking. They ain't hearing shit you saying, bro. And why would you do that, right? Oh, that you're talking at the same time as the other person. It's like you can't talk and listen at the same goddamn time, bro. It's a reason why you must wait. to speak when another person is done talking. So here, when you look at this lesson, okay, now in regards to Pisces, like I say, they can they can listen with their minds. Is it see one thing with a Pisces is that they're not quick to go into something, they're not quick to believe something, they're not quick to string along or just small talking and just lollygag. They not really quick to just go into a situation because because they are aware that is people out there that are fake, people that are out there that lie, people out there that are full of shit, right? So a lot of times we're not quick to just go into a situation when it's not feeling right because the intuition stops us, and the intuition, it helps us see the pattern. See, we recognize the pattern because of the observation going back to our eyes, fish eyes, right? Now, a Pisces learns to observe more than they explain because it's almost impossible to deceive them at that point. Impossible to deceive them. Why? Because they learn to observe more than they explain. Observe more than you speak. I'm gonna just turn this off, man. This thing wasn't even making any noise before. But yeah, another thing is that there are things that affect your body, your mind, and your decisions. So what what would affect your mind, your body, and decisions? The illusion. See, the illusion steals your attention from you. It can steal your attention and your energy. So here, because your attention is the doorway to your mind, if a person could control what you focus on, they can influence what you ignore. This is not a game, bro. This is why I tell people this. This is why I don't even like talking. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't like talking to just random strangers out there and IRL, because all of this going on, you gotta really be paying attention. You gotta be locked in. And this goes off into why you can't overshare. See, with strangers. Now, deception steals your clarity. See, so here you can't make good decisions with bad information. That's why you're not supposed to hold on to it with just one ear. Now, let's look at the worst case scenario. Let's say you start to fight the whole imaginary problems while the real problems start to grow. Because what are you doing? You're not taking care of the real stuff that's going on. You're entertaining the bullshit. See, that's why I'm trying to tell you. So here, when you start to ignore the truth, what are you doing? It's based off of fear. So fear steals your confidence. That's why, bro, anytime you're afraid to do something, do it anyway. See? So I heard a lady tell me, she said, oh, I'm afraid to come to Milwaukee. And I was like, why? She said, oh, because I was doing Uber and a guy told her that, hey, he was trying to, harm her, do something to her. And I'm like, bro, in my mind, I'm like, that could have happened anywhere, like not even just Milwaukee. That could have happened in your state. It's just one person out of the whole population. See, you can't say, oh, you can't say that the whole state is bad because of one person out of the whole population said something stupid. People are just not thinking, bro. So that's why you can just have a bunch of bad information and be holding on to that, and it's not going to do you any any good service. Now, when you look at fear as it steals your confidence, because anything you're afraid of, it stops you right there. See, it it keeps you stuck. So here, that's why people hesitate, because they're afraid. So it's like you can pull up to a place you could pull up to a place where you would normally just get out the car and walk right in. But now you pull up and you're basically hesitating because, oh, now you see, people, you see a crowd of people, you see a crowd of people arriving at the same time. So you're like, oh shit. Oh, now you're like stalling to go to the door because you're afraid. See, it's little moments like that. It could be a subtle moment. That's why you got to still get out the car as you normally would and still go out there because you have to conquer those fears. You can't let the fear win, in other words. Now, here, we know fear steals your confidence for, like I say, it makes people hesitate and it makes people second guess themselves. See? So, what does this rob you of? Missed opportunities. Like you're afraid of the coach. You're afraid of the people interviewing you. So it makes you hesitate to even go to the interview because you're worried about, oh, what someone's gonna say. You're worried about stuff that didn't even happen. Do you I don't know if y'all follow me. You're basically looking at a situation and you're trying to figure it out before it actually happens. It's just fear. And it's like, bro, you gotta let stuff play out, fam. You can't, oh, jump the gun and start, oh man, why they looking at me? Oh man, damn, what if, that's all that doubt because it's all based off of fear. Now let's say when you build all these illusions, see, and all these illusions are lies because you think that they are what? Protection for you. Because, oh, it feels safe for me to not go along with it. Now your confidence is shaking because, oh, now you feel safe. Oh, if I don't go in yet and I'll just wait. I had a situation last night, went to a gas station. I don't know if it was a lady or a man because I was just, like I say, just trying to get my gas and move on, and leave. Next, they didn't even get out the car. They just stood at the pump, sat in the car for like an extra, 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, damn, they must either don't got no money for gas or they just scared to get out and pump. So to me, I just looked at it as such because who would just sit at a damn pump and just sit there, bro? I know, yeah, you could be on your phone and just doing some shit, but it's like, that's rare. So that's something to think about. Now, why am I saying this? Because you think that is spectators watching you and you're worried about what they think about you. But here's the funny part. You're Ain't none of that going on. You spectating yourself. You're spectating yourself and your own life. So just let that sink in because if you're literally putting yourself in their shoes to judge yourself, that means you are looking in the mirror and seeing your reflection. And you thinking that, oh, damn, these people, and guess what? You don't even know these people because you're not going to see them. Because if you feel afraid of them, you won't go and see them anyway. So it's like you're really afraid of yourself. That's why I said you are your worst enemy because if you're afraid of yourself and what you are capable of or what you will and won't do, you won't even move. You will just sit there and spectate your own self, your own actions. It's like you're doing the third person. You're just, sitting in your car and then you see yourself and those people watching you telling you, oh, don't better not get out that car, man. I'm gonna get you if you get out the car. So you're afraid of your own self. That's why I say you don't even see people when you see the illusions, you don't even see the other people. You're too busy reflecting. See? So here, when you are desperate, what does desperation do? It steals your judgment. See? So when you're desperate, you stop asking questions. You see people do this all the time. When they're desperate, just like, oh, when GTA comes out, everybody is just gonna flood the stores and go right in line and buy the thing. And I tell people, just wait. It might be plenty bugs in the game when it first releases. There's no rush for it. It'll still be on the shelves. Just like GTA 5 was still being sold 10 years at just years and years and years and years. Like, bro, you don't have to buy it when it first come out and you might not like it. You gotta just wait, let things play out, let the previews, let the reviews build up before you make a decision. Don't just hurry up, jump the gun, jump in line because you hear it's coming out. It's like, bro, sometimes you gotta stall and just wait. So here, when you are desperate, you just start accepting anything that promises a relief, bro. It's like you're not even breathing. You're just, let me hurry up, let me hurry up, let me go, let me get this, let me go, I gotta grab this. And then all of a sudden, you're not even taking a deep breath and just relaxing, bro. See? So now, worst case scenario, the trap is what you miss because the trap looks like a solution. And that's just going along with it and hurrying up and just going in and buying and name. When you calm down, you realize you made a big mistake. You say, oh, honey, this one doesn't even come with the latch. It doesn't even come with the piece I was looking for. Didn't even rushed and bought it because now you done bought the wrong damn thing. See, it's little stuff like that. Like you can't rush into things. Now, when you look at temptation, this framework, what does this do? This robs you of your discipline. See, so temptation, it steals it from you. The moment starts looking more important than the future because you're caught in the moment. Now, worst case scenario, you get that temporary feeling in the moment. It might feel good in the moment, but then what does it do? It creates a permanent consequence. And you're not even ready to face that consequence because you're caught in the moment. Meaning a person can do something, engage in some type of, you know, sexual activity and, have a threesome with folks and don't wear protection. They're caught in the moment. And then next thing you know, it's time to go get tested. You're due for your 6 month, checkup. You go to the clinic and they tell you you got HIV. But you were caught up in the moment that, oh yeah, I got to do this and yeah, I want to do all this freaky stuff. But you didn't factor in the consequence of doing that. See, that's why it's like, bro, some stuff is not even worth it, bro. And then the ego steals your ability to learn. See, because think about it. Let's say a person is operating out of their ego. They go apply for a job, they get the job. But now, as the person is trying to train them, they're like, oh, I already know how to do this already. I already know how to do this already. I don't need you to train me. Okay, well, if you really think you know the job, you already know, then hey, I won't train you. And then you go out there and you screw up, you do something. Then you know your ass is on the chopping block because your ego got the best of you. See? So here the ego says it if you want to identify something and know when your ego is operating, you will say things such as, I already know. I'm right. See? I know I'm right. I don't need advice. I'm fine. All these little words like this, all it does is show that you're unteachable. You're unteachable. So what that does is make people just avoid you. See, and you don't know why no one's not. You're like, yo, why why nobody's speaking to me? Why is your ego? When you're unteachable, no one wants to talk to you, bro. That's why I say, like, bro, this energy is important. That's why you got to watch the framework. Now, another part of the framework, pride. What is pride still? Your growth. So here, you rather protect your image than improve yourself. See? So, worst case scenario, you end up staying the same your whole damn life as your life moves forward. You end up staying the same way. That's like you could be a boy at one point of your life, and now you're still a boy moving along into your adult life because of your pride. It's like you never improved yourself, in other words. See, as a man. So that's why I say things like that. Now, another part of your framework is anger. What does anger rob you of? It robs you of your reasoning. See, so here, anger, it ends up narrowing your vision. That's why everything becomes personal to you. See, so worst case scenario, one emotional decision ends up creating years of regret. That's why people end up going to jail doing something stupid where they could have just talked it out, but ended up shooting it out. Somebody gets killed. Next thing you know, they got a prison sentence. Now they're sitting in the prison, oh, because they took that situation with that person personal. They made it personal. See, somebody step on your shoe and you already willing to kill them. You just making everything personal at this point. So that's what it is. Anger. It's an anger issue. Now, when you are envious, this steals your gratitude. So here, instead of building your own life, you're watching someone else's. So worst case scenario, you end up wasting your own energy comparing instead of creating, instead of creating your own. So that's why I tell people like, bro, framework is important. Now, if you look at comfort, what is comfort? What does it rob you of? Comfort steals your potential. So here, comfort feels safe. That's why people like it. But growth feels uncomfortable because think about it. If you were to go to a gym to get stronger, you would have to lift weights, add more weight to it to actually get stronger. It doesn't feel good when you put more weight, as you begin to bench press, you put more weights on. It's like, oh, it's a little heavier than it was. But that's why growth feels uncomfortable. So worst case scenario, you end up settling for less than you're capable of becoming. See? So that's why some people they don't reach their full potential because they they don't like to feel the uncomfortableness of growth. Now, attention is another part of the framework. Attention steals your thinking. So here, this is a big one because a lot of times when people want the most attention for no reason, what reason do you want all this attention for? Because literally, when you're looking for attention, like I say, you're not questioning where it's coming from. You don't know if it's good or bad attention. So here, this means that hey, you're not thinking at this point. How do we know this to be true? Because the more something captures your attention, the less you're questioning it. See, the less you're analyzing it, the more you are absorbing it. See, so that's how you can end up mistaking familiarity for truth. Just because people are all bombarded all around you, talking to you, it doesn't really nothing for you. All you're doing is absorbing the attention, but what it does is you think that's the truth of the matter, and it's not. That's why I say it's so many. Put it to you like this, bro. There's a spiritual warfare going on. Okay, in case you didn't know, and what this means that every single day, bro, you're you're basically going to war with these frames at work because, bro, you believe a lie, you're already using self deception. It's like that quick. And it's poison. It's poison to your body because, bro, you let something sit and it's a freaking lie. You gotta throw it away. You gotta get rid of it, not hold on to it. So as I break this down, the illusion. See, the illusion steals your attention. Deception steals your clarity. Fear steals your confidence. Desperation steals your judgment. Temptation steals your discipline. The ego steals your humility. The pride steals your growth. Anger steals your reasoning. Envy steals your gratitude. Comfort steals your potential. And here's the thing: the the worst of all is that Everything wants something from you, bro. Everything wants something from you. Everything. But here's the question for you. What is it taking? What is it taking? What is everything taking from you? See, so that's why I say that the greatest theft is not money, bro. Most people think, oh, that's the worst thing you could lose is money. No. See, if anything that steals your attention, your clarity, your discipline, your peace, or your purpose is much more worse, bro. See, and the thing is, you getting robbed every day, and you don't even realize it. And you think that the only form of theft is what? Being, held up. Nope. And this is how we know that shapeshifting is real, bro. Things take a different form, and all you see is a snake. But what kind of snake? What is the snake doing? See, you ignoring the snake even being around you, and then somebody ended up getting killed just because you were not paying attention, bro. You were too busy talking. You were too busy engaging in it, entertaining the whole situation, bro. But that's why I say, you hear people say, "Oh man, keep your grass cut," and you think it's funny, you laugh it off, but that person is really telling you the truth. If you got a snake in your circle, it's just a matter of time when that person's going to reveal themselves in their true nature. They're going to do exactly what a snake is going to do. And a lot of people just, oh, now they just ignore it and act like, oh, the snake is not a snake. So here, when you look at this, that's why I said the illusion, deception, temptation, discipline is all a part of the framework that's used against you every single day. So here, that's how you know people do not meet you first. They take from you first, bro. They want everything from you. This is just like getting robbed, bro. They want all this shit from you. They want everything. But here's the thing. They don't want to earn it. They want to take it from you, bro. They want to take it from you. And it's like, if you look at it like this, friend or foe, bro, the word friend is out of the equation, bro, because I got to get to know you. I got to observe you. I got to bring you under a magnifying glass first because I know you. Because I know you. I know you want everything. See, and then you gotta know stuff, bro, because you can't even get information unless you know first. You gotta know what information is and what you're looking for. You gotta know how to use it. So here, let's say, appreciate the 100. The Golf America said, uh, you said that Jesus kicked Judas. I mean, I'll talk about that in a minute. But that's what I say, like, no, I mean, Leroy, I mean, you going hey, that's your opinion, man. But it's like people don't want to hear the truth, bro. And the truth, like I say, is the truth. And I'm gonna say the truth, bro. Because, bro, you go in a situation, and this is how you don't see. A lot of people don't know that a lot of things can stop, a lot of things can end, but you have to end it, bro. If you tolerate and you just going along with the everyday thing and you ignoring these core principles, bro, you will always be robbed. See, you will always let people take away the very things that make you. See, the very things that define you. See, and then you wonder why you're always being stepped on, disrespected, and controlled because you don't see it coming, bro. You don't even see it coming because you trust everything you see. Now, here's the thing. Let's say, like I say, most people don't meet you first. They meet the version of you they created in their own mind of you. It's cold-blooded, bro. And you think, see, everyone is conditioned to think that shake a hand, meet a friend. And they want to do this so fast. As soon as they meet somebody, they're already calling them their friend at what, 20, 30 minutes later. And you're self-deceiving. You're self-deceiving yourself, bro. That's all you're doing. It's never that fast, bro. Everything is all the truth. It always remains in the slow process, bro. Everything requires a process, bro. If you think I'm lying, then look at school. Okay, the teacher says, "Oh, I'm gonna give you guys a math quiz. It has 20 questions on it." Next thing you know, the teacher hands the damn test out to everyone, and one of the students grabs the test, and he's just trying to hurry up and fill out the damn thing and get it done. He don't give a damn if he picked the wrong answers or what. Oh, I'm done. I'm done. Oh, okay. You turn it in and you get all this these red marks on your damn test because you failed. And then the person that's the last one that's done, he made sure all the shit was processed. He processed everything, checked everything, made sure everything was right, handed it in, then he passed. So you can be an idiot, Leroy. You can go out there and screw your life up and do dumb shit and end your life for nothing. Not even amount to your purpose just because of you being an idiot and saying this little dumb shit you just said about, oh, you're giving terrible advice. Then why are you here, bro? You don't even have to see my channel no more. It's just don't say dumb stuff where, oh, don't never tell me I'm giving bad advice, bro. This wasn't advice. This is not advice. If I was, here's the funny part. Advice is like saying, oh yeah, you should go buy a pizza. They got a deal at Little Caesars for what, $5.99 for a large. That's advice. This ain't no goddamn advice. This is life. This is life, bro. If you don't hear it from me, you end up learning the hard way. That's all it is, bro. You see, some people they don't like how you think. See, it's like they take it personal. Oh man, see, I don't like him, bro, because he always talking about these illusions and like these facades and like who really talking about that stuff? Probably not a lot of people, but I'm talking about it because I know it's true. See? And I don't have the problems that I see a lot of people have because they actually what? They think they're meeting people and they're not meeting the person at all. They're meeting the person's illusion. They're meeting the illusion. They're meeting the facade. They're far from the truth, in other words. But then the next day, after a week, you're already, oh, we're friends. Oh, my homie. You already just gave away the trust because they robbed you for it. And you got to see it in that analogy because, bro, that's exactly what they're doing. If nobody's giving you the truth up front, then what is on your tray? Bullshit. So why would you accept it? If it's not real food on your food tray, why would you sit there and eat it, knowing that it's not real? Knowing it, why would you accept it? See, everybody think that you just gotta receive what's given to you, bro. You don't really know if it's effort involved because you gotta process things first. Remember, I said the ear to ear principle. You gotta check things out first before you decide. But that's just wisdom, bro. And here's the thing. Let's say going back to the version of you they created in their own mind, the illusion is stronger than the facade because the illusion is built by what? The observer. So here, the facade is built by the person. See, if a person is choosing to what? Wear the facade, they're doing this themselves. They've created this false impression of who they are. The illusion is stronger because, like I say, it's built by the observer, bro. You can look into a situation in the wrong way yourself. As you think you are getting to know people for the first time, you're judging them because you're putting yourself there. So therefore, you're not meeting anyone. All you're doing is getting to know yourself because you're so busy staring at your reflection. That's why I tell people you have to think outside the box. You have to get out from under yourself. You have to stop thinking about you when you're meeting other people. Because it's all you start doing is start, oh man, yeah, yeah, yeah. You get caught up in this repeated pattern. And that's why you constantly keep losing people. You constantly keep running people off, miss opportunities because of your own framework and how your framework was, diminished or, you know, you might realize, well, damn, why can't I find it? Why can't I find a mate? Why every time I date somebody, it never works? I would probably look at yourself and what you're doing. When you're meeting people, are you harping on your own or what I got going on and what I'm doing and what I want and I want a relationship and you have all these expectations and demands and it's like, bro, you're not even a good person, bro. You're selfish. You don't you're so selfish you don't even see the other person. You're only focused on yourself. So that means that you don't want a relationship. You want somebody that you can control and influence. See? So that's the thing is when you think that, oh, you're so busy you're quick to blame the other person for your own behavior, for your own views, because you're literally looking at your own illusions, bro. You're making all these illusions and you think that, oh, it's the other person's fault. And it's not. See? Because you're projecting. All you're doing is projecting everything that you do onto the other person. But guess what? You you never got to meet the other person, in other words, because you're too busy looking at yourself. That's why I tell people, like, bro, you can really put yourself in the situation so much and you will be alone as a result. So when you when you think about this, the facade, what does the facade say to a person that has created it? This is who I want you to think I am. This is who I want you to think I am. See? So here, if the illusion is speaking to the observer, the illusion is saying, this is who I want you to be. It's cold-blooded. So the facade can only control what it shows. The illusion controls what people see. So that's why two people can meet at the exact same time. They can meet the same person and walk away with a completely different opinion, bro. And that's why I say the whole time they weren't even seeing the same person. So here they were seeing their own expectations. And you end up playing yourself out of the opportunity, bro. And all while thinking, oh, it's the other person doing it. And it's you. I always say this, bro. Like, this is real deal, bro. I'm not bullshitting, bro. People do this shit and they always quick to blame other people and it's them, bro. Now, here's the thing. Let's say, for example, with a Pisces is quiet. One person sees confidence. Another person sees something different. They see arrogance. Another person sees mystery. Another person sees insecurity. But here's the funny part. Pisces is the same person. The Pisces didn't change. So here, the observer did. Cold-blooded. You thought you were seeing the Pisces again, but you're seeing your own self in the mirror. Oh, I didn't know that the illusion was a mirror. Oh, yeah. Of course, of course, of course, it's a mirror. The illusion is a mirror. And how do you know it's there? Because it's your illusion. You put it there. See, and here's the thing, the illusion filled in the blanks. That's why the illusion usually wins, because people don't see reality, bro. They don't see the truth. So here, they see reality plus desires. So here, reality, they think comes with an attachment, the framework. So the reality, oh, they think it comes with an attachment. Oh, the reality plus the fear, the reality plus the past experiences, the past relationships you were in, reality plus expectations. So in other words, people don't even see you. When you meet somebody, you ain't even seeing them. Guess who you shaking up with? What's up, man? How you doing? Yourself. You ain't even you're not even seeing the other person when the illusion is there. Because here they see what you remind them of. So everybody wants things to be familiar. Nobody wants to meet anybody anyway. That's just the truth. Because you want to meet somebody that's just like you, and that's not reality, bro. And once you realize that, oh, somebody is not like me, you think they don't like you. It's cold blooded. You feeling, you get all in your emotions, you take it personal. Your framework takes over, the anger, and it's robbing you, fam. That's why you can't enjoy your life. But you think that people make up your life. You think that people make you happy. Nah, bro, you gotta make you make yourself happy, bro. And here's the thing. Nobody can make you happy but yourself. And here's another thing. That's why first impressions are often wrong, bro. First impressions are often wrong because of the illusion and the facade. So what are we saying here? Where's the illusion coming from? It's coming from you. Where's the facade coming from? The other person. But it also could be you too. It could be you. How? Because if you're being something you're not, now you're wearing a facade. Oh, now you look at the other person, but now you know nothing about them. But now you're looking at yourself, so you're reflecting, you're absorbing. So now you say, oh man, damn, I don't think this person likes me because they're nothing like me. Now here's the thing. Why would you feel like that? Because of the framework, man. See, you're not even just looking at the truth. The truth is, I gotta get to know this other person. That that will require you to get out of yourself. See, instead of thinking about you, you need to start reflecting. How do we know you're reflecting? Because you're looking in the mirror. What is the mirror? The illusion. Now, when you start to look at this, people aren't gathering evidence. See, they're completing a story. So let's look at the worst case scenario. You spend years trying to prove who you are. The people who were never seeing you in the first place, they're defending an illusion that they've created. So when reality finally shows up, they say, oh, you've changed. And it's like, you're telling yourself that cold blooded, what you can't see. So here, the facade is the mask you wear. The illusion is the story they wrote about the mask. See, so here, the most disappointments that come, why do they happen in the first place? Most disappointments, they happen when reality shows up and the illusion can't survive it. So people rarely fall in love with who you are first. They fall in love with who they think you are. That's why you can literally be having sex with a person and thinking about somebody else that you're having sex with, cold blooded. No, it's terrible, right? Yeah, yeah. That's just man. That, damn, you sleeping with somebody else. You in a whole marriage relationship, but now the only way you can really get your rocks off is to think this person as somebody else. See, so another thing is that the facade introduces you. Oh, so when that means when I first meet somebody, I could be introduced to the facade, of course. And yeah, you could be doing the same thing. And that's why I tell people, you know how hard it is to get to know somebody, bro? Because you got to get through the illusion and the facade. They both have to leave first before you can get the reality of you and that person, bro. So how do you know if y'all really got a connection? Well, the illusion and the facade have to leave first. Oh, well, how long does it take? How long would it take for the illusion to leave in the facade? It's a process. It's a process. You gotta wait. Well, damn, that could be a long time. It doesn't have to be. Only if a person is being real with themselves, authentic. Oh, but if they don't want to show the real them, it may take a long fucking time, bro. Because you gotta understand, just because you get just because the illusion leaves at first doesn't mean it won't come back. All it takes is for you, all it takes for you to actually start looking at the past experiences, expectations, and then it's over. It's right back in your face. It's like you're running the same course all over again. The rat wheel. Now, when you look at the facade introducing you, the illusion interprets you. So then what does this mean? With time, see, with time, time reveals you. So it's like, yeah, at a certain time, it will reveal. But here's the funny part. You can't make somebody reveal themselves. That's how a lot of people get trapped. You thinking that you can make somebody open up and tell the truth. You can't, bro. See, or show the real them. And that's why time is the enemy of both facades and illusion, bro. Because if you think about this, there was a lady that got killed in my state simply because she went on a date with a man, and next thing you know, his name is Maxwell Anderson. She went on a date with him on the first day of meeting off of a dating site, and he killed her. So my thing is, damn, why would you go? Why would you go to this man's house after dinner, after a dinner date, on the first day of meeting? Like, there's a process of getting to know somebody. It takes time, bro. Ain't no way you gonna know somebody in 24 hours, bro. The real them. Nope. Hell, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. That's not enough time, bro. It takes time to get to know someone, bro. Just like if you was to read a book and it got what, 300 pages, bro. You really ain't gonna know what the whole book is about because you gotta read the thing. See, you gotta process. You gotta go through a process and read the book. Know what it's about. So here, when you look at Time, like I say, it's the enemy. Time is the enemy of both the facades and the illusions. So, why is this? Because eventually the mask flips and reveals the real them. And eventually the fantasy breaks. See? And that in itself is what? What does this all leave? What's all left? The real them. Once the illusions leave and once the facades leave, what's left? The real them. It really shows with time of what you're really dealing with. See, it might not all be that cracked up. See, a lot of times that's the thing. Once you get back to the core, the truth of the matter, you might not even want it because you realize what was on it. You were baited into the situation. Because listen, it's a reason why the truth hides from you in plain sight. Because it's sugar coated, it's decorated, it looks nice, at least on the outside. See, so you got to get through all of that sugar coated shit, all on the outside of it, the bait, to find out what's in it. But it takes time to do that. See, so here, when you look at the boundaries, the desires, the illusions, and when we refer to Pisces in the illusions, Pisces doesn't necessarily dissolve illusions. Pisces oftentimes dissolves certainty. So here, that's why Pisces energy is associated with oceans, dreams, the intuition, and things that don't have sharp edges. See? So if you look at it from a healthy aspect, a healthy Pisces will ask themselves, hey, what if there's more to the story that I'm missing out on? In regards to meeting this new person, what am I missing from it? Is this really true? See how Pisces has all these deep questions concerning it first? So here, that can expose illusions because illusions need certainty to survive. It's cold blooded. And see, if nobody questions the story becomes reality. That's why you gotta question everything, bro. You gotta question everything, bro. You can't just be for the taking, bro, without knowing first. Because what good is that? Now, when we look at boundaries, are boundaries illusions? No. So here, a boundary is actually the opposite of an illusion. See? Because you're not just gonna go along with something, you're gonna wait first. And waiting requires time that you have set aside for yourself. You got to give yourself enough time to get to know people. What are you waiting for is very important. See, you're waiting for clarity. You're waiting for information because you have questions. You're waiting for knowledge. See, if you do not know the person, then what is the point of getting to know them in the first place, bro? Because if you not be, if you're not giving the truth, what's the point of getting to know them? What was the point? What is the point? Because at that moment, Glance, you're just wasting your time. See, so here, an illusion blurs reality. That's why it's hard to see the truth in it. Because you gotta adjust what you're seeing first, and it takes time, bro. It's not a quick thing. See, you're conditioned to hurry up and accept something because it makes you feel smart. Oh, I hurry up and decide it. So you think it's a slow thing or something's wrong with you if you wait to decide. See how a lot of people got twisted thinking, bro? You want to hurry up and I fill out all the paperwork because it makes you want to feel like, oh, I know what's going on. I know what to do. That's your ego. And you can still be scammed even though you're operating out of your ego. That don't mean you're great because, oh, you fill out everything very quick and fast. Oh, what can I get you? And you're just, oh, Harry, you just fly off the handle. I would like a number three with extra cream cheese. And now somebody that's like, and they're just, asking questions. Well, does this come with a side? Or hey, does bread come with this and this? And you're getting all flustered because, oh, well, come on, man. You just gonna order, man? Or you gonna ask this man a million questions? Let the man ask the questions. He might be allergic to some shit on that menu, bro. It is what it is, bro. Everybody's not gonna be like you, and that's a good thing. So here, when you look at the boundary clarifies reality. See, a boundary says, hey, this is where I end and you begin. It's that thin line, bro. It's the thin line, which is the safe line, bro. That protects you in itself is that boundary, bro, between you and that person, you and the situation, from you and whatever is at hand. So here, without boundaries, what do people assume? What do they confuse? They confuse love with ownership. They confuse kindness with permission. They confuse empathy with obligation. They confuse attention with commitment. So here, that's why many times with Pisces, they struggle early in life. See, because you have to say no, bro. You can't always say yes to things just because you don't want to hurt the person's feelings or whatnot. That's very dangerous. It's very dangerous to be in a position like that. Now, yes, I understand a Pisces is compassionate enough to understand everybody else's pain, but that is not your responsibility. See, so unless that person is close to you and you have to, maybe like kids or something. But understanding someone's pain doesn't make you responsible for carrying it. So that's why you have to separate it with boundaries. Now, when you look at desires are harder to stop than illusions because if you have a desire, I'm gonna tell you, just like I mentioned the whole mouse in the trap situation, that it's not so much that the trap kills the mouse, but it's the fact that the desire kills the mouse. So that lets you know that your desires are stronger. See, your desires are stronger and harder to stop than illusions. So here, the mouse dies because of hunger. He has a desire to eat. And when he's hungry, he will eat anything, even if even if it will risk his life. See? So that's not good because if you're the type of person that has a strong desire to smoke, do something, and you're like, yo, I have to have this. I'm thirsty and you just willing to drink anything, but somebody gives you a cold cup of piss and you just flush it down without questioning it, somebody can poison you. And you just taking everything because of desperation, bro. See, whenever you have a strong desire, you become desperate. It keeps you from questioning things. So as soon as you're, oh, I'm thirsty, you take a cup of something that looks like something and you down it and you don't know what it was. And it makes you sick. You got to get rushed to the hospital. God forbid. So that's why I say when you look at illusions, why is it that there's an illusion when you meet someone? Why is it there? It's because it lives in the mind, bro. See, it lives in the mind. Desires live in the body. You can destroy an illusion with the truth. Reality destroys illusions, bro. So if you start thinking and have your mind wrapped around the truth at all times, guess what? You won't even see any illusions. Cold blooded. But if you're lying to yourself continuously, letting other people deceive you, then you're much more prone to falling for illusions, bro. And you might get scammed and things happen to you often because, oh, damn, I ain't even see it coming. See, that's just like being a bat. Oh, but soon as the lights are on, oh, you go to sleep. You don't even know if it's safer not to be there because the lights, oh, the sun is out. But you're so used to everything being dark, which means you're not even aware where you are or who you're with, cold blooded. So that's why it's not. That's why you have to watch your blind spots at all times, even if you're in the dark or the light. It's not an excuse, oh, because I'm nocturnal and I'm in the dark. You still got to be aware. Reality exists for everybody, bro. Everybody has to use it, bro. Everybody has to obey it, bro. Everybody has to follow it. It's just the way it is. Now, when you look at the truth, doesn't automatically remove desires, bro. So let's say a person knows that smoking is unhealthy, okay? Now, here's the thing. What also leaves when a person knows that, hey, is unhealthy, the illusion leaves. The illusion is gone. But here's the thing. Just because the illusion is gone, guess what remains? The desire to continue. See? So here, a person knows that their ex is toxic. The illusion is gone. But the desire remains. They still with them. A person knows that the scam is fake. The illusion is gone, but the desire for easy money remains. That's why temptation is so powerful, bro. Because even when the illusion is gone, guess what? You can still lose your life. You can still lose your life just because you still want to do the shit when you already have the knowledge that it's bad, bro. What good is knowing something? What good is knowing that? That's why I said the truth can't always save you. Because just because you know some shit does not mean you're gonna do it, bro. Don't it does not guarantee that you're going to do the right thing, bro. That's why you know something. Oh man, I know these people aren't good for me, but I'm still gonna be friends with them. And then the same people end up taking your life, and you knew they didn't mean you no good. So why did you stay? Because of the desire. You didn't want to be alone. You wanted these people still as friends, even after knowing the truth, even after knowing reality, the reality of the situation. So here, temptation is so powerful because it only needs one thing. It only needs one thing from your framework. And that one thing is desire. Cold blooded, bro. People get destroyed from temptation. Even Lucifer told Jesus to jump from the bridge and I'll catch you. He ain't fall for that. Jesus didn't fall for that. It was coming from the devil. Why would you trust the devil knowing he's the devil, bro? Come on now. Make it make sense. But some people, desire will kill you because, oh yeah, I know you're not my friend. But the same friend tells you to jump off this bridge and I'll catch you on the way down. And you trust him. Because you had the desire to keep him as a friend, even though you knew he was not your real friend, bro. So what makes you think that he will catch you on the way down? And then you jump off that bridge and die. So the truth, the reality killed. See, the reality ends up smiling at you in the afterlife. And it's like you ignore the truth. Guess what? The truth still remains if you use it or not, bro. Which is you knew these people was not your friends and they took you out. And guess what? I'm still standing in your face and telling you the truth again. You should have left them alone if you wanted to live longer. Cold blooded. See, now here, why does manipulation work? Because manipulation is like a tool. It's like a it's like a wire that attaches to something. See, it attaches to something that it wants, but it doesn't want to put the work in to get it. So here, manipulation rarely starts with force. It rarely starts with force. It starts with desire. Starts with desire, bro. You really want something, but you don't want to work for it. You rather take it cold blooded. You rather take it at someone else's expense. You rather them do all the work for it. So here, the manipulator finds something you want. Cold blooded, bro. The manipulator finds something that you want. The manipulator finds what you desire. Man, let me stop, bro. You're doing too much, bro. You're doing, because if temptation will see, temptation will work on you and somebody else. That's why a person will manipulate you because, oh, all I got to find out is what what you're tempted of. All I got to find out was what you desire. And they got you. They got you because they know even if you knew the truth, you would still do it. So what do they look for? The manipulator finds something you want: love, approval, validation, attention, security, money, status, relief. Then what do? They attach the conditions to it and they sugarcoat it and they put a nice, pretty package and a bow on it. And then the bait, the bait isn't the trap. It's not the trap, but it looks like it. See, it looks like it too with the manipulator. But watch this. The bait is not the trap. What the person is wrapping around it is not the trap. The trap is what's in it, in plain sight. See, bro, this is why I'm trying to tell you, bro. The bait isn't the trap. The desire is. And it's right in it. When you look at the pretty package, what's inside of it? The desire. And this is how they get you every single time, bro. And the crazy thing is, let's say somebody tell you, oh, if you really love me, you would do this. That's manipulation. And I don't understand this for the life of me. If somebody manipulates you, do they love you? No. Just for them to use manipulation to begin with, as evil as it is, you're supposed to end their cycle. You're supposed to cut them off completely after you even know they're doing this, bro. And how many people wouldn't? Knowing the truth, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't leave that manipulator alone. Nope. So here's the thing. If you love me, you would do this. They're attaching your desire for connection to their desired outcome. And guess what? Without force, cold blooded. They don't have to use force. You know why? Because of your desires. Now, here's the thing. That's classic one-on-one manipulation all day. So, worst case scenario, the worst manipulators They don't control your actions. Nope. They control your interpretation instead. It's cold-blooded. See, they make you feel guilty for having boundaries. They make you feel selfish for saying no. They make you feel wrong for questioning. They make you feel cruel for protecting yourself. See? So now you're policing yourself for them. See? You're doing all the policing for just for them. Now here's the thing. And that's far more powerful than direct control in itself. That's why people manipulate. See, because they get more power out of the situation, out of the equation. Now, illusions control what you see, desires control what you chase. Manipulation happens when someone learns how to connect the two. So here, the illusion says this will make you happy. The desire says, I want it anyway. The trap closes when you stop questioning both. See, because think about it. You will be, you will already be toast when you find out the truth. And what does it do? Once that, like I say, the mouse, once he goes and grabs the bait, all he really did was follow his desires. He chased it, right? He chased death. But the crazy thing is, he didn't care. He didn't care about death. He cared about his desires more than his life. So you smoking and knowing it's unhealthy and knowing it could kill you, you're just chasing it, bro. You're chasing death. I know you probably at this point don't like me because if you smoke, you probably feel like, hey man, shut the F up and move to. But bro, it's the truth, bro. Don't be surprised that one day comes faster than it ever did, fam, when you realize that, damn, oh, the doctor telling you got lung cancer, bro. And now you sitting there like, oh, confused and upset. And now you on the breathing machine. You're not, see, the thing is, you're not listening. You're not even trying to understand the truth of the matter. You don't care. You don't care. So the thing is, the truth, reality still remains, bro, even if you don't accept it. This is why I say you cannot even chase someone for the truth. Time reveals it. Time reveals it. So one day you wake up and guess what? You can't fucking breathe. Why are you surprised? Why are you surprised? And you know who's sitting beside you, laughing their ass off? Reality. He's like, man, I don't mean to break it to you, but man, how stupid do you gotta be to think that you would have lived long life doing, you know, doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over, thinking that something different was gonna happen? That's insanity. So here, you lost your life early, and you were expected to live longer than that. So what changed? Oh, I see. This became a pattern for you. This became a pattern for you. So the thing is, you desired this over and over and over and over, and you ignore the truth over and over and over. But guess what? Truth always wins, because at the finish line, or when you're done and cooked, like I say, if you're toast, the truth is still there. So you either make it to the finish line and win, or you make it to the deadline and lose, bro. And guess who's still standing over you? The truth. And what are people saying? I told you to stop. I told you this was bad for you. I told you this. And the whole thing is, Not that, see, people think that, oh, they think it's a game for ignoring the truth, bro. But anyway, another thing is this. If, like I say, most people aren't controlled by force, they're controlled by what they refuse to let go of. See? So you end up, if smoking is your thing, that would be the thing to take you out. Because think about it. Even if you know the truth for the matter, you know it's unhealthy. Guess what you're chasing after, and you don't even realize it? Death. You're just like the mouse. The mouse, he was willing to take the risk. Because in his mind, either way it goes, I'm hungry. It's not even the bait that kills the mouse. Because he was going to do it anyway. Even if he knew the truth of the matter, he was going to do it anyway. Meaning he was going to die anyway. Cold-blooded, bro. It's cold-blooded. That's why every time I see a dead mouse on a mouse trap, I just look at him and say, you know what? Damn, you can't want it that bad, bro. You wanted that shit so bad, bro. You wanted it so bad, bro. You just really wanted that damn food so goddamn bad, bro, that you said fuck it and you just ran for it. And little Tony didn't make it, bro. So here's the thing: when you look at a boundary, it's not a wall, bro. It isn't a wall. It's a line that prevents someone else's desires from becoming your responsibility, bro. That's why you have to set boundaries, bro. You have to. You have to. So here, when you look at it in the framework, in the psychological framework here, you have to think of it like layers. See, your eyes. What is your eyes? What do what do you supposed to use your eyes for? Well, your eyes give things attention. Your eyes give things existence. So here, your eyes don't decide things though. See? So that's why you're not supposed to make decisions by what you see. It's cold-blooded. Your eyes, they don't decide. They simply collect data, bro. See? But what captures your attention influences what enters your mind. So that's why the illusion is so strong because it affects your eyes. That's why you have to make sure that you're actually seeing what you're seeing as it's projected onto you because the illusion controls what you focus on. Cold-blooded. Now let's look at a magician. A magician doesn't even hide the trick, and he's doing the trick in plain sight. But funny thing is, the magician is not trying to hide it. So he redirects your attention, and that's how he gets you to because he's redirecting your attention. You don't even see the trick. It's cold-blooded. But you think he's doing damn, he put the fire in his mouth, and you don't even know he's controlling your mind the whole time. It's cold-blooded with the illusion. So you stare at what's visible and you miss what's important. It's cold-blooded. See, when you look at your ears, what are your ears supposed to be used for? Information. Your ears collect stories, opinions, beliefs, and ideas. Now, the funny thing is, what else affects your ears? Deception. Deception affects your ears. So here, because deception enters through what? Information. It sneaks into what you hear. That's why everything you hear does not mean it's the truth, bro. And see, deception enters through the information and how we know this to be true. Rumors, propaganda, manipulation, half truths, and the worst situation out of all of this, you start thinking somebody else's thoughts. It's cold blooded. See, now your conscious mind, what does this amount to? Your reasoning. See, so here, this is where questioning happens. This is where you run your analysis. This is where you work your logic. And the logic is how you end up making decisions. Now, fear also affects your conscious mind. Fear narrows your thinking. So instead of asking questions, you start asking yourself what's true. See? So here, you start asking what's safe. Instead, you stop seeking the truth and you start seeking comfort. See? That's what fear does. Now, so when we look at the subconscious mind, what does this amount to? Habits. The subconscious stores patterns. That's why you recognize patterns as they come. You recognize beliefs, the emotional triggers, the automatic reactions. Now, repetition also affects the subconscious. So whatever you repeatedly see, hear, and experience gets stored. That's why advertisements repeat. You see the same advertising and you just keep skipping over them and skip because they keep coming, right? So that's why propaganda repeats itself. And that's why affirmations repeat itself. Now, worst case scenario, you start to operate on beliefs that you never consciously chose for yourself. Now, the unconscious mind amounts to deep desires and hidden motives. So this is the basement of your mind. See, we consider this the basement. So this is the stuff that people don't always know about themselves. The unresolved fears, the hidden desires, the need for approval, the need for control, the need for validation. And this is the playground, the battlefield for temptation as well, because temptation affects the unconscious mind. So here, because temptation speaks directly to desire, this means that logic is not here. This means that there's no facts, it's only desire. The worst case scenario, you know better consciously than you will ever know unconsciously. So that's why people end up doing it anyway, even after knowing the truth, because desire is that strong. So here, when you look at the whole full chain of events of the framework, the illusion captures the eyes, the deception enters the ears, the fear clouds the conscious mind, the repetition programs the subconscious, the temptation exploits the unconscious. See, so and what here's the whole problem. This is all a cycle. All five are working together, and you don't even realize it. See how big of a storm that is? Just to be so subtle, and no one's talking about this. See, but everybody's falling for it, right? So here's the thing. People can be manipulated without even realizing it as a result. See, manipulation is so, people revert to manipulation because is easier and more powerful than control itself. Because it doesn't take any work. It's easier to do it. That's why so many people do it. Yeah, it's not right. I totally agree. I'm just saying that that's why people manipulate instead, because control takes force. See, like if you were trying to handcuff someone, you would have to force the handcuffs on them. They're not going to willingly just let you cuff them. So if you manipulate, you could probably get the handcuffs on them, and they put them on themselves, and it's like, oh, You didn't even have to put no work into it because you use manipulation. See, and they ended up putting the cuffs on themselves, but they didn't realize that yet that you manipulated them into thinking they thought they were doing it themselves. See, now the thing is when when the eyes collect the data, the ears receive, the conscious mind judges, the subconscious stores, and the unconscious drives. See, so most people think they're making decisions. Many times they're acting out of a script written by attention, repetition, fear, and desire. So that's why I say you got to control the attention. And here's the thing: you influence the thoughts of yourself. See, so that's why you got to control your own self. You got to have that self control. Control the thoughts long enough, and you influence the habits that you make, that you decide for yourself. Because influence takes time, bro. See, so that's why I said when you look at this whole situation, that would make you, better understand it. Okay. Now, another thing, it's hot as a mug in here, y'all. Now, when you like, for instance, the Adam and Eve situation. Let me break that down for some, because a lot of people don't understand it. So when you look at the Adam and Eve situation, when you look at who was tempted first, a lot of people miss this or mistake this to be, the other way around. So Eve may have encountered the temptation first, but Adam still made the decision. He made the choice. So here, neither one of them could blame each other. See? So when you look at the framework, the snake, see, the snake was among them the whole time, bro. So here, the reason why that nobody really knows what happened, because I'm gonna tell you what it represents. In the symbolism, the snake represents manipulation. It's cold blooded. See, so the snake offers an alternative narrative. See, a different story from the one in which Adam was told not to eat of the forbidden fruit, right? So, boom, that different story in that manipulation caused a what? It caused a different offer, a different story, a possibility, a temptation, a desire that was not already there. That's how somebody can get you to do something or to try something that you would never have tried on your own. So here, we know it to be manipulation because the snake didn't force Adam to eat the apple. Nope. The snake persuaded him to eat the apple, bro, which means he tempted him to eat the apple based off of the desire to do something different, bro. That's why when you focus on one thing, bro, fulfill it, bro. Fulfill it. Don't entertain a whole nother narrative or some type of other idea. Finish your food first, bro, before you work on something else. See? So here, Eve represents curiosity. Okay? Eve represents questioning, exploration, the desire to know. Curiosity itself isn't evil. So here, without curiosity, nobody learns anything. The issue isn't the curiosity. The issue is what happens when curiosity separates from wisdom. See? So Adam represents the choice. Adam represents the agency, the decision, the responsibility. So the temptation
may not have originated with Adam, but the decision did. See, that's why no matter what you do, bro, always do the right thing, bro. Even if you don't want to, bro. That means that you do the right thing because that's the wisdom behind it. When you don't want to do it, you're shutting down the desire. See, the temptation to do otherwise, to entertain a different story, a different narrative. See, so here, the deeper psychological reading here that most people miss is that most people focus on who handed over the fruit rather than the manipulation. It's cold blooded, bro. Manipulation is it's a very subtle, sneaky trick, bro. And it's very hard to see it in plain sight because of what is covering it. And it's not the bait, it's the desire. That's why you got to find out, what does the manipulator want? And guess what the answer is? Nothing. Nothing from you. That the manipulator wants to know your desire more than anything. See, it's cold blooded. Now, here's the thing. One question you gotta ask yourself is, why was the fruit attractive in the first place to Adam? See, what's so good about an apple? Every apple is damn near the same, might taste a little tart, a little different, you know, from apple to apple, right? Now, here's the thing. The fruit is attractive in the first place because the desire. See, I'm going to tell you, the temptation, first let me tell you this, because the temptation only works when it's connected to a desire. So that's what makes it attractive. So the fruit wasn't powerful by itself. The desire gave it all the power, bro. See, and that's the whole thing, is when you know one thing, meaning the truth of the matter, and it's like you focus on that, and then all of a sudden, oh, look at this over here, and it's like, what causes that? What causes that shift? See, because something else became attractive because of the desire. So here, in this sequence, the illusion says you'll gain something. The desire says, I still want it. The temptation says, take it now. The choice says, yes or no. So, what does this all mean? The snake can present, bro. The snake can present. Meaning the snake is only there to make an offer. It's cold blooded, bro. But you should already know what to do, knowing the truth of the matter. And that's why I'm trying to tell you, if you have a desire, even after knowing the truth, you still want it. That's why I say see, that's why I say some people out here don't even want the truth, bro. They don't want the truth. They're still going to do it regardless, bro. So here, Eve can offer, the snake can present, but neither can remove the final choice, bro. Because the person with that strong desire is the one that makes the final decision, and guess what? They don't get to they don't get to pick the consequence, in other words. So, the snake presents the possibility, Eve presented the opportunity, Adam made the decision, bro. And who was accountable as a result? The person that made the decision, bro. See? Temptation can knock you, put it like this, temptation can knock on the door, do. Desire can invite it inside, like, oh, come on in. But the choice still turns the handle, bro. See, nothing can make you do something. In other words, you have to turn the handle, fam. See, so here people blame the fruit, they blame the snake and Eve, but few ask why. Adam wanted what he was told not to have, bro. See, because he put himself first, bro. Selfish. He put himself first. He put his own desire above that, bro. See, which landed him in a bad state. See, of disobedience. So here, when you look at where does the self-awareness begin? Because the hardest truth isn't the temptation in that it exists. The hardest truth is the temptation. It's the temptation usually that reveals a desire that was already there. See, and that's why in your illusion, deception, temptation, the whole framework itself, the real battle isn't with the snake to begin with, bro. The snake is just there to make an offer. That's why I tell people, like, bro, nobody can make you do something you don't want to do. See, because you got strong willpower to make a choice. The person that makes the choice has more control than they think they have. Because no matter who's in your way and what kind of obstacle you face, you still have to be the one to make the decision. See? So here, when you start to look at the part of yourself that wants the fruit badly enough to ignore the consequences. Now, when you start to think about this, before the fruit was even thought of, there was a boundary. See, the boundary created a choice. So if you create the boundary, that's how you keep the choice. That's how you keep the decision in your hands. Because okay, yeah, I have to decide what I'm gonna do. And that's good, but you have to stay with the boundary. If you literally are in a situation where you could lose the boundary because now someone else is making the decision for you, it's cold blooded. See? The boundary is to protect you from the control of the other person's desires. Now, if you look at it as a whole without a boundary, there is no obedience. See? Without a choice, there is no free will. The forbidden tree represents the one thing Adam could not have, bro. And humans have always struggled with that shit, bro. Is that if I say, if I had 10 acres of land and I said, hey, you guys can play here, do whatever, hey, play tag, run around, play with your toys, but you got to stay within this 10 acres. Do not go out there to the hills and don't go out there over here and don't touch this and don't do this. What do you think they're going to do? Okay, Dad. And guess what? As soon as I take my ass in the house, they're already on their bikes headed for the hills, bro. And no, yeah, they know what Dad said. Don't go over there. Don't touch this and don't do this. But guess what? They have to. They in them. They feel like I have to do it. Otherwise, I still want. I still want. I'm still gonna do it. I'll just take the ass whooping. Hey, I'm still gonna do what my father told me not to do. It happens, bro. It don't matter how young you are. It doesn't matter how old you are, bro. Some people just, bro, they don't listen. They don't want to, bro. They want to. They have a strong desire to do it anyway, bro. So here, when you look at, when you look at the moment something becomes forbidden, then that's why people make it significant. It's like soon as somebody say don't do this, the person challenges the person. Well, why can't I have it? Or, oh, why can't I touch it? Why can't I taste it? Why can't I? And see, that's the whole thing, is that the person wants to see, the person wants to be in the moment. See, even if, oh yeah, it takes me out, or whoop de woo, does this to me, whatever the punishment is, but they're like, oh, in the moment, I just want to do it anyway. The desire. So the mind starts asking, why not? Why can't I have an apple from that forbidden tree? Why not? What's so special about it? What am I missing? See how your mind starts asking you these questions, and these questions create temptation, and the temptation is fueled by the desire, which causes you to do otherwise. Meaning, you take the offer from the snake instead of just listening to whoever told you not to do what, instead of the reality of the situation. You chose to make an offer with the snake and do otherwise. But the snake didn't. This is a funny thing. The snake was just sitting there, bro. The snake was just there. Meaning temptation is always present, bro. And you know what the craziest thing is? People are quick to blame the devil. Oh, the devil did, the devil this, the devil that. Oh, it was the devil. No, it was you, bro. It was you. You give the devil all that power, fam, speaking on, saying his name and saying he did this and he did that, bro. No, what did you do? See, because you took the offer. You did otherwise than what you knew. You knew exactly the truth, and you went with a different narrative instead. See, so here's the thing: when you look at this whole situation in itself, of what am I missing? This curiosity, right? What is this doing for you? It's making that other thing seem more attractive. Why? Because when you question things that are forbidden, you start to create attention to it. It's cold blooded, bro. See, the attention creates curiosity. The curiosity creates desire. Desire creates temptation, and temptation pressures the choice. So even if you wouldn't do it, guess what? If you feel tempted, you will probably end up doing it anyway. That's why they say, if you're a woman and you're married, it's not good to go hanging around a bunch of guys and get all emotional and talking about y'all problems. And guess what? The moment you feel tempted, guess what? It's harder to say no. It's cold blooded. See, most people cheat because it was harder to say no. They were pressured. They were pressured in the choice making, to where, oh yeah, I know this is wrong, this is terrible, but they felt that little amount of pressure, and they accepted that offer from the snake, and they don't even know why they did that. What caused that? What caused all of that? The desire created the temptation, bro. See, because you put all that attention on the thought. You put all that attention on the thought. So the deeper lesson here is the tree may not be about the fruit at all. See, it may all be about the self-governance, and that's it. Because here's the thing: can you say no to something simply because you should? Can you resist something even when you want it? Can wisdom override desire? And see, that is the real test for each human being, bro. Real talk. And I always say that the tree wasn't the test, the desire was the test, bro. The fruit didn't even, like I say, the fruit didn't create disobedience. It revealed it. See, it showed where a person would cross the line, bro, in this life. That no matter what people knew about the truth, they will always still follow the desires of their heart, bro. See? Because of one thing. The desire is within you. See? The crazy part is the serpent. The serpent did not create the desire. You did. See? That's why I say something can try to distract you from your focus, but only you can put attention on it and make it into something bigger than it didn't have to be. See, so here the forbidden tree was a mirror the whole time. Let me stop, bro. The forbidden tree was a mirror. It revealed your desires within that situation that you were in. See? So he ate the apple because he wanted to. She cheated on you because she wanted to. They robbed you because they wanted to. So this means that this was your own free will at hand and you chose to do that of which what? Which you wanted. But this is what you don't get to pick. The consequence, bro. You don't get to pick the consequence, bro. And to me, if I can't pick the consequence, I'm not gonna do something different that I know. If I know something is bad, if I can't pick the consequence, I ain't doing it. Nope. Nope. So here's the thing. When when you start looking at people and you ask yourself, what do people do when desire and discipline collide? See? And the thing about it is, as I said, the fruit was never the real danger. The real danger was believing that wanting something was a good enough reason to take it. That's what I'm like. Why would you take something if you know it's bad, bro? Why would you do something that you know is bad that will cost you your life? What it shows and what it means is that you want it real bad. It's cold blooded. You want it so bad, bro, that you don't even care about what happens to you as a result, bro, of that desire. So the crazy thing is, before the tree, there was simplicity. After the tree, there was perception. And perception is where the illusion started, bro. So it's how you perceive things. It goes back to how you perceive things, bro. Can really F your life up, bro. See, you can't even make the right decision when you perceiving things wrong. So here, what was the first facade? Does anybody know in the chat? What was the first facade? The first facade was the first thing Adam and Eve did after eating the fruit. The minute they knew they made a big mistake. How do you remember what you should have done after you fucked up? Because you realize, oh, I don't get to pick the consequence. I don't get to pick the consequence. So now I'm afraid of what I just did because, oh, I don't want to be handed over to the wolves for this decision. See? So now you want to escape. Why does all of this happen? Because you became aware of yourself. Man, this shit is cold blooded, bro. You became aware of yourself. See, then once you knew the real you, you tried to cover it up. You tried to cover it up. And that's fascinating. That's where you know the first facade was Adam and Eve, bro. So what makes you think when you meet somebody today that it still that it still don't exist? It's still here. It's still here. That was considered the facade was the fall of man, bro. The fall of man, bro, with Adam and Eve, bro. That parable. See? So here, the first human response to self-consciousness is the facade. A person would rather put a mask on than reveal their true intentions, bro. That is cold-blooded, bro. So you mean to tell me everybody that I meet for the first time will feel comfortable wearing a mask rather than just showing me the real them? Which makes it harder for you to get to know people, bro. To Because getting to know the real them is rare. It's 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 almost like winning the lottery, bro, when it happens. What is that facade doing? What is the mask covering? See, what is it covering? The real them. So when you look at this, the moment humans become aware of how other people see them, they begin to manage perception, bro. See, with the Adam and Eve situation, that was the birth of the facade. The first illusion came from the snake. The first illusion, the serpent does not force anything down your throat or to you or in your hand whatsoever. The serpent changes the interpretation. See? So here, the command doesn't change, the tree doesn't change, reality doesn't change, the meaning changes. That's what the illusion is, the meaning. See how a person just get the wrong interpretation of something? You thought you made the right decision when reality says otherwise. But you were listening to the snake rather than following what you already knew was right. So here, an illusion isn't always false. This is the tricky part because sometimes it's a false interpretation. And all I'm saying is that when humans create illusions, it's because reality is often less attractive than desire. So here people want to be admired, to be loved, to be accepted, to feel important, to avoid consequences. So they create stories. Stories what? In regards to what? About themselves. See? Stories about others. Stories about what they deserve. Stories about what they can get away with. So why do the facades exist? Why do the facades exist? Because the facades they solve a problem. The real self may not even receive approval. So people create a version that will. They feel that hey, the real me will not get their approval. So that's why they use the facade. So here the facade says love this version of me that I'm showing you rather than or other than the truth of me, of who I am. So the danger is that eventually the facade needs maintenance. See? Now, the thing about it is when you're wearing the facade, what are you trying to do? You're trying to protect an image instead of developing a character. And the illusions exist because of the observer. Remember at the beginning of the live, I said the illusions are created by the observer. So here, the facade says, here's what I want you to see. The observer says, here's what I want you to believe. The illusion is born where those two meet. See? So I tell people in the symbolism, symbolically, is that Adam and Eve, they don't simply gain knowledge, they gain self-awareness. Self-awareness creates comparison. Comparison creates insecurities. Insecurities create facades. And facades invite illusions. And illusions create disappointment because a situation was not what you thought it was. It's cold-blooded. And this is the craziest thing right here. Do you think the other person? See, you gotta understand. The observer created it. So the illusion creates a disappointment because this wasn't. You didn't plan on meeting anyone to begin with in the first place. That's why they were created to disappoint. That's what Adam did, bro. See, you don't understand that we think that people make decisions because of X, Y, and Z. We make excuses for them when they wanted to do it. They wanted to do it on their own. See, so that's why a person would be accountable in the first place for the decision they made, whether it was good or bad. And obviously, if it was something bad that they did, it will what? Amount to a consequence. The man that says, "Oh, I'm gonna run into a store and steal a bag of chips," he already has a desire to steal the chips. He bolts out of the car, bolts into the store like a running, like a NFL, linebacker goes into the store, just terrorizes everybody, grabs the chips, runs out the door. Police, police catch up to him, they arrest him. They tell him, "Hey man, you going to jail, right?" Because what he just done. So here, he made a choice, and now he has to what? Pay the consequence. So it's like people do things, they're doing it because they simply want to, bro. There ain't no excuses. That's the reality of their choice. They chose to do some stupid shit. In the story, it ain't no excuse. I hate when people get sensitive and get all, and I mean sensitive, where they try to defend the other person and try to make excuses for their wrongdoing. Oh yeah, he didn't even really know. He has PTSD, and yeah, he wasn't really He had a bad child upbringing. Man, no, bro. He made a decision, bro. Ain't nobody tell him to go up in there and do that. He wanted to do that. He had a desire. He had a desire to do that. Okay, so when you look at the serpent, he introduced the illusion. The fruit awakened the self-consciousness. The self-consciousness created the facade. The facade invited the illusion. The illusion distracted from reality, and the reality eventually exposed them both. See, the truth is the illusion and the facade are with us all the time. But in order to find the truth, you must remove them both. So when we look at the story about Adam and Eve, it's not about two people in the garden. It's about what happens every day when people choose image over the truth. See? So I always tell people the first temptation wasn't the fruit. The first temptation was believing appearance was more valuable than the truth. The moment humans became self-conscious, they learned how to hide, bro. You know, most of the things you find you realize that, well, is this of value? Like when you go and find things, you have to know that these things were hidden. See, in the first place, you and that moment when humans became self-conscious, they learned how to hide. The moment they learned how to hide, the facades were born. And you know the craziest thing is when a person says, "Damn, I wish Bart's was still open." And you say, "Why is that?" "Oh, because I wanna go buy me a mask." "What do you need a mask for?" "It's not Halloween." "Well, I just don't want anybody to know I don't want I don't want people to really know what's going on with me." And that's the thing. Illusions exist because people want reality to be different. That's what the serpent did. See, the serpent caused the misinterpretation of the truth. So now, this is why it creates disappointments. And see, it's because people want reality to be different. They want it to be of comfort. Facades exist because people want themselves to appear different. The facade is what we show, the illusion is what others believe. So the truth is what remains when both collapse. See? So when you start to look at why do people perceive instead of asking questions? So here it's because perception is automatic, bro. It's how you were wired. And the thing about it is the brain is designed for speed, not accuracy. So many people will accept things before questioning them first. So that's why I said you go into a situation and say to yourself, say
Friend or threat? Okay. Friend or threat? And that will be more related to accuracy. Go into a situation, ask yourself, safe or dangerous? Go into another situation, trustworthy or suspicious? And see, the brain doesn't like unanswered questions. It likes conclusions, even bad conclusions. So that's why people perceive instead of questioning things, because perception saves energy. Questioning requires effort, observation, patience, investigation. Perception says, I've seen enough. The mind loves shortcuts, bro. That's why if you look at this on the worst case scenario, you become confident about things you barely understand. That's why I say it's not good to just be trying to hurry up and do stuff. And when people are just trying to, you know, get you to do things, get you to buy things, this is what they do. They know you're just, oh, okay, all right, shaking your head all confidently, and you don't even know what the hell they're talking about. And another thing with desire, desire hates questions. So questions tend to slow desire down. If you want something badly enough, you stop investigating. You start justifying. That's why people ignore red flags. They're not even looking for the truth at that point. They're looking for confirmation. That's why the mouse, again, that's why the mouse gets killed by the trap, the mouse trap, because he's not asking no questions. He's trying to hurry up and run for it. He's trying to hurry up and get what he desires. So when you start to look at desire in itself, desire asks for agreement, questions ask for evidence. Now, another thing that a lot of people don't talk about is the ego. The ego wants to be right, so questions create uncertainty. The ego hates uncertainty. The ego wants certainty, even false certainty. So it's like ego just want to do anything, take on anything, even if it's not even if it's false. Okay. So here, all in all, certainty feels powerful to the ego. That's why some people would rather defend a lie than admit that they were fooled in the first place. Now, fear in itself wants quick answers. So here with fear, it doesn't ask, hey, what's true? Fear asks, what's the fastest way to feel safe? So fear creates assumptions. Assumptions create assumptions become beliefs, and beliefs become perceptions. And the mind completes the story. So here, humans like ourselves, we are um, meaning making creatures here. So we tend to try to make everything mean something, have a meaning to it. And when information is missing, the brain fills in the blanks. And usually people start to use the illusion to fill in the blanks when the information is missing. That's why perception is often fiction mixed with facts. See, because you don't really know what happened. Your mind creates a version that makes sense. Now, with that whole Adam and Eve connection situation, when you look at the serpent, the serpent didn't just offer fruit, okay? The serpent offered an interpretation. And notice what wasn't asked. See, people do this every single day, bro, all the time. They notice what wasn't asked. See, and they play on that. They notice there was no questioning. They noticed there wasn't no investigation, no challenge, no deep questioning. The interpretation was clearly accepted. See, then acted upon. That's how most deception works. See, that means it just sneaks right on in undetected, not through force. So that's why when it's operating, it comes through unchallenged assumptions. Now, if you look at perception, we look at that to be the answer you give before you gather enough information. When we look at questions, questions are the bridge between appearance and reality. When you look at illusions, illusions survive because people perceive. The truth emerges because people question. The facade says, hey, look at me. The illusion says, believe me. And the question says, prove it. See? So you must put the person or the situation that you're up against to the test to find out the truth. Now, most people don't see reality, they see a story their mind created to explain reality. Perception closes the case, the questions reopen the investigation. The moment you stop asking why, you become vulnerable to anyone willing to give you an answer. It's cold blooded. It's cold blooded, bro. And see, that's why, and see, once that happens, that's the whole thing. You cannot have the fear of questioning things, bro. Even though you might feel embarrassed, you might feel, oh yeah, I'm being an ass by accident. No, you're not. Ask the questions, bro. Another thing is, okay, so when you when you look at the illusion, it's not necessarily a boundary, but the illusion is a temporary boundary between you and reality. So even if the illusion is a reflective wall that stands between the both of you, meaning you and another stranger, because when you first meet somebody, you're not even really seeing them. You're not even really seeing them. You're seeing a reflection of yourself projected onto them. See, in regards to what? Your desires, your fears, your expectations, your past experiences, your hopes, your wounds. In a sense, the stranger becomes a mirror. See, that's why I tell people when you first meet somebody, you're only meeting your reflection, bro. When someone says, hey, you're exactly what I've been looking for, How could they possibly know that so soon? And they've only known you for what? A day, a week, an hour. What they're actually saying is you reflect something that I desire. See? So here the illusion is often self-created, meaning it's coming from you. The other person simply becomes the screen that it gets projected onto. That's why the reflection is dangerous, because why are you looking in the mirror when you should be getting to know the other person? Come on, man. Because attention follows that desire. And once the attention becomes captivated, the observation decreases. Because anything you draw your attention to, guess what? It's going to reflect, see, back onto you. So here, you stop seeing the other person. You start to assume things. You start to question things. You start filling in the blanks with your own illusion. See, the reflection becomes more visible than the person, as if the person that you were meeting never existed. Now, when we look at boundaries, this is where boundaries become interesting, okay? Because boundaries don't create the illusion. Boundaries slow it down. A healthy boundary says, hey, I need more time. I need more, I need more evidence. I need more observation. I need more reality. The boundaries prevent the reflection from becoming a conclusion, even if it's bad. Seeing this true self, to truly see another person, you must slowly separate who they are from who you want them to be, from what they do, from what you hope they'll do, their character from your imagination, bro. See, and that's hard to do because imagination is exciting. It entertains you. Reality is patient. So the first person you meet is often your own reflection, not the stranger. The illusion isn't the other person. The illusion is the story you create about them before you know them. Attention creates attraction. Observation reveals character. The moment desire captures attention, the perception starts replacing reality. And you don't truly meet someone until your expectations start speaking for them. I mean, stop speaking for them. So you can't speak for them. You got to let them speak for themselves. That's the only way you get to know them. You cannot fill in the blanks with your own illusion. You cannot reveal the truth because of reality. That's the whole thing. So here, when you get into a relationship, it begins with three people. I bet you didn't know this. When you get into a relationship, it begins with three people. Now, many of you think that, oh, three people, are you nuts? Because you're not listening, really listening with two ears, okay? The real person is the first person. The version they present is the second one. The version you imagine is the third one. See, the real relationship doesn't begin until the second and third person start disappearing. See, so only then can two actual human beings meet. And that's why time destroys so many illusions. And that's why so many people become disappointed. Not because people change, it's because eventually the reflection fades. And for the first time, you finally see the person standing behind it. See? So that's why I say if you're building the framework, then the deception won't even come near you because it doesn't even attack people directly. The deception does. See? Whatever you put your attention to, because deception wants your focus. And it's because it has your attention. Therefore, it has influence on you, over you. So the illusion is what steals your attention. That's how the magician gets you. See? Now, when you look at perception, deception wants you to see what isn't there. That's what perception is, or what is there to begin with. So the illusion isn't the lie. The illusion is what prevents you from seeing the lie. If that makes sense. Cold blooded, bro. Now, when you look at the emotions, strong emotions reduce observation because at that moment glance of the framework, because now, what are you doing? You're making things personal. Now you're dealing with what? Instead of observation, you're dealing with fear. Whose fear? Your fears. Anger. Whose anger? Your anger. Lust. Whose lust? Yours. Jealousy. Whose jealousy? Yours. Excitement. Whose excitement? Yours. Desperation. Whose desperation? Yours. So emotions in itself isn't the enemy. Unexamined emotion is, bro. That's why you have to process all of your emotions before you even decide on things, bro. See, to separate what's yours and what's someone else's. Now, when you have the desire, desire creates vulnerability. The stronger the stronger the desire, the less evidence people require. The trap follows the desire. See, the trap follows the desire. So it's not that people get killed; it's the trap of the see. The trap follows the desire. So you think you think that you're a victim in a situation, and you didn't know that the whole trap was following you the whole time because of that desire you had. See? So here, that's why I said the mouse is a prime example. He doesn't know that the trap is following him. See, he doesn't know that someone is trying to catch him because it, because of what he feels inside. The very thing he wants more than anything is what? Hunger. So he's not even thinking that the trap is following him as he chases his desire. So what brings him to his demise? The desire. It didn't have nothing to do with the trap because the person that sets the trap wants you gone. See, the person that set the trap knows you're there. The person that set the trap is aware that you're there. Cold blooded, bro, and you don't even see what's coming because you're blinded by your own desires. How did you become blind? Because the desire made you vulnerable. You what you think is a strong desire is actually making you vulnerable to the trap. Come on, man. And you don't even you it's like, yeah, you don't want to you don't want to listen to the truth, but it's like then why are you here? Because you will be gone. Just for the lack of reasoning, the lack of judgment, you'll be gone anyway. That's why I tell people like you cannot cheat. You cannot finesse outcome just because you don't want to follow the truth. It just helps the situation if you just follow the truth. See? Now, when you start to look at the identity of yourself, once a belief becomes a part of your identity, then the questioning it feels like a threat. See? Now you're defending yourself instead of what? Investigating the truth that was at hand. So the ego protects beliefs long after the facts stop supporting them. Now, with time, deception hates patience. It wants urgency. It wants the act now. Don't think. Trust me. Move quickly. Time gives observation a chance to catch up. So why do people hide their true self? Most people don't wake up saying, today I'm going to be fake. Usually it's much deeper than that. See, because of what? The fear of rejection. The true self may not be accepted. So they create a version that will be. That is what we call people use for facades as protection. Blooded. See, the fear of judgment, people end up learning earlier on that certain traits get rewarded. See, people learn early that certain traits get punished. People learn early, so they end up hiding parts of themselves. The desire for approval, the approval is powerful. People begin performing for acceptance. Over time, they forget where the performance ends and the real self begins. In shame, some people aren't, put it like this, with shame, some people aren't hiding arrogance, they're hiding wounds, insecurities, failures, fears, and they're using the facade. So if you look at a person that is controlling, some people hide their true self because the truth will reduce their influence. So that's why a manipulator's greatest asset is uncertainty. See? And if you knew their true motives, their power will shrink. That's why I said, how do you defeat a manipulator is by knowing that they are first cold-blooded. It does, see, no one wants to do something if they already know you know about them, what they're doing currently. See, so the deep connection here is this is why deception and facades they often travel together. The facade hides reality, the illusion replaces reality, the observer becomes distracted, the truth becomes harder to see. So the attention in itself, it can be captured, perception can be manipulated, emotions can be triggered, desires can be exploited, beliefs can be defended, facades can be constructed, and the truth can be delayed. But eventually, reality starts to collect evidence. That's why you see it at the finish line, no matter what. The patterns began to emerge, the contradictions began to appear. The mask, it gets heavier and more uncomfortable to wear. The illusion gets weaker. And then comes the moment every deception fears. Observation catches up to the attention. See? So that's why I said when it comes to observation, it catches up to the attention. That's when the questions start to change from, hey, who did they pretend to be? To why did I need that version of them to be true? See? That's why I say people oftentimes they hide their true selves for protection. People believe illusions for comfort. Reality arrives when protection and comfort can no longer compete with the evidence. Now, the root fear of all of this is is being fully seen, cold blooded, being fully seen, not the polished version, not the representative, not the highlighted real, actual person in regards to all their truths, their weaknesses, their failures, their motives, their flaws, their needs, and their insecurities. Many people fear that if other people saw the complete truth, acceptance will disappear. So that's why people will fake it till they make it. That's why people say you ain't got a lot to kick it. See, because the manipulator ultimately, what does he fear the most? Losing control. But wait a minute, I thought control was not as important as manipulation. But the difference is the control to a manipulator gives predictability, cold blooded. See, it's almost like if I had a if I had a nuke, I know what the nuke's gonna do. Oh, I don't need control because I have the greatest weapon. See, I have the greatest weapon. So if I have a nuke, all I gotta do is just launch it. I ain't gotta do nothing else. I know what it's gonna do already. But see, When the manipulator fears losing control, now it leaves everything uncertain. See, you don't know what's going to happen. And that's not a comfortable place for a manipulator to be in. See, so if people see the real motive, the influence weakens. And guess what? All you got to do is be aware. All you got to do is be aware of it. And it's just going to weaken just like that. Meaning, what gave it power to begin with? You not knowing. It's cold blooded, bro. You being unaware gave it power. It's cold blooded. Manipulator cannot manipulate unless you give it power. The only way that it sneaks past you and deceives you is because you don't see it. You don't even know what's happening. The thing about it is, when you start to look at questions to a manipulator, then things begin to change. Things become uncomfortable for the manipulator because it becomes dangerous. Boundaries become dangerous. Independent thinking becomes dangerous for the manipulator. That's why manipulation often reacts aggressively to scrutiny. See? And the facade, what is the facade fear? The facade fears exposure. Because if I know why you're wearing the mask, then it makes you look dumb. See, if I know why you're wearing a mask, it makes you look foolish, bro. Exactly how the mask was made and its disguise, it makes you feel stupid for wearing it because you know it's not you, bro. And you being treated as such of what lies beneath the surface rather than what you're trying to show everyone. See, so with this, it's because the image is fragile. The image is fragile. The image survives on perception. Reality doesn't need perception to exist. It simply is, bro. See, that's why I said the truth stands. The truth is the light, bro. What the illusion fears observation. No hatred, no criticism, just observation. That's all it fears because observation creates evidence, bro. See, evidence creates clarity. Clarity creates the truth. And the truth does not negotiate with fantasy. See? So why questions are powerful to ask? Questions force the illusion to compete with reality. And guess who always wins? Reality. See? And that's why hidden motives hate questions. Questions slow everything down. Questions questions interrupt assumptions. Questions reveal contradictions. And the deepest fear here for others or manipulators, the the deepest fear is if you strip everything away. Because at that point you're taking away its power. The very thing that it leans upon, that it depends upon, meaning the fear of rejection, fear of exposure, fear of losing control, fear of losing approval, fear of losing status, fear of being judged. They all point towards one thing: fear that reality will not be enough. See, that's why people create illusions. That's why people wear masks. That's why people perform. That's why they're trying to what? Become more acceptable than they believe they are. See? Now, I will say, okay, uh now it's not that a person would hate who they are is why they wear the mask. Okay. That's not always the case. Sometimes they're worn because they fear who they won't be accepted. They fear who they are. Okay, so let me say it again. Most people, they're not afraid. They is like they don't hate themselves as to why they will wear the mask, meaning the facade. But the problem is they are wearing a mask because they fear who they are won't be accepted. So it's all about acceptance. People really feel like, oh, if you really knew the real them, you wouldn't even accept them. See?
Backwards, indirect way of thinking like that. See? because it's like, no, you need to show me the truth of who you are, weaknesses and strengths and all that I need to see the whole picture, not just what you want to show me. See, so here, when you look at the greatest fear of the false self is the real self, and that it might have to stand on its own without being able to put a mask on. See, so here, that's why the truth feels so uncomfortable at first. That's why people become nervous when they first meet a stranger, because the truth removes the mask, breaks the illusion, exposes the motive, and leaves only one question: who are you when there's nothing left to hide behind, bro? Who are you when there's nothing left to hide behind, bro? That is the whole entire situation at hand. See, when there's nothing to hide behind of, when you can't wear the facade, the illusion isn't there. Hey, it's just you. See, so if you really look at the framework, always be careful what has your attention, because of the framework, the illusion can affect your eyes. It makes the appearances seem more important than the truth. The beauty of the matter can distract you from the character, the status, the luxury, the titles, the fame, the money, the attention that gravitates towards wealth, the power that people focus on in regards to the authority, popularity, the crowds, influence perception, the novelty, the new thing that just came out captures what? Captures attention. The spectacle, the drama that keeps your eyes occupied to it. The comparison, watching others instead of what? Yourself. The temptation, the visible reward distracts from consequences. See, if you are tempted, that means you really want whatever is in the moment that bad. See, as if the risk you're not even entertaining, you're not even thinking about, you're not even questioning it, because you want so bad the reward in the moment, the visible reward. And that distracts you from the consequences. But guess what? As soon as you make the wrong decision, guess what you're thinking about? The consequences anyway. See, that's why you have to factor in the consequences in regards to making the decision at the same time, bro. Now, what affects your ears are influences, beliefs. This is how deception arrives, because of the false information that your ears receive. The gossip, the second-handed stories. You're not even hearing it from the first person. You're hearing it from the second person that has ditched it around. Propaganda, repeated narratives, flattery, telling people what they want to hear, praise that can cloud a person's judgment. Criticism can shape one's identity. Rumors create assumptions. Fears, fear messaging manipulates behavior. Empty promises, that's hope without evidence, and group thinking, the pressure to agree to something because there's a group. Now, things that affect your mind are things that distort fears, narrowing your thinking, ego, protecting beliefs, pride blocks growth, certainty stops questioning, assumptions create false conclusions, biases filter information, resentment distorts interpretation, anger reduces reasoning, anxiety focuses on imagined threats, and desperation lowers your standards. So those are things you got to watch out with that framework. Now, when you look at the effects of the body, what drives action is hunger. Uh, Hunger changes decisions. Fatigueness weakens discipline. Stress creates impulsive behaviors. Addiction overrides logic. Pleasure seeks immediate reward. Comfort avoids growth. Pain demands relief. Lust overrides judgment. Survival instincts choose safety over truth. And habits form automatic behaviors. So that's why I say, all in all, this is a whole chain of events, meaning cycles that must be ended. See, the illusion captures the eyes. Deception enters through the ears. Fear, ego, and pride influence the mind. Desire, pleasure, hunger, and habit influence the body. Action creates consequences. Actions create consequences, bro. And most people think it's the words. It's not the words, it's the actions. And why is this? Because the eyes are distracted by appearances. The ears are influenced by stories. The mind is challenged by the truth. The body is driven by desires. Most people aren't most people aren't defeated by one thing. They're defeated when the illusion captures the eyes, the deception enters the ears, the fear clouds the mind, and the desire controls the body. And the strongest person is not the one that controls others, it's the one who can see through the illusions, question what they hear, govern their own thoughts, and discipline their own desires, bro. That's the strongest person, bro. Imagine if you can see through the see, man, if you I just told y'all, I just gave y'all the sauce, bro, to be the strongest person, in case you're not. Now when you meet somebody, this should change your perspective, bro. You might have looked at you may you probably met people and realized that, damn, why did I waste my time? And now you realize, damn, it was because of the illusion that I was looking at. See, that I was entertaining. Now, when you another thing that's powerful I want to mention is the trap. See, the trap succeeds because of the bait. The trap is rarely stronger than the desire. So let's look at a mouse and cheese. You look at the bait. What's the bait? The bait is the hunger of the mouse. Oh, I thought the bait was on the trap. No, the bait is in plain sight because the bait is what you are. The bait is why you are in the situation in the first place. So what does the trap amount to? Death. See? And what is the lesson for the mouse and the cheese? Desire ignored the danger. Desire.
Ignore the danger. It's almost like, why would you go to a bad place where bad things happen? What will make you so special for it not to happen to you? And that's all what you are, what surrounded with. Cold blooded. Now, let's look at the fish and the worm. When you look at the fish and the worm, what is the bait? The food. What is the hook? The trap. So, what is the lesson behind this? The reward hid the consequence, bro. Because that is what you're not paying attention to is the bait and the trap. 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 This is life, bro. This is how it always is. The bait. And you know what the bait? You know the crazy thing is? You think the bait is what you think the bait is someone else is doing. And all it is your desire. It's something that you desire. That you can't come into terms with, that you can't resist. Let's say, let's say you had a desire for ice cream. You do anything for 2 scoops of butter pecan, right, from your favorite ice cream place. Even if even if you got diabetes, you don't give a fuck. Even if there's a snowstorm outside, you don't give a damn. Even if all four of your tires have no tread, you don't care. You're still going to get those 2 scoops. And guess what? You end up crashing into a damn wall. You get rushed to the hospital. And they say, well, damn, what was the difference from the mouse and the cheese to this man wanting some ice cream that he couldn't resist? What killed him? The trap. What was the trap? The ice cream. What are everybody gonna see? Where people supposed to be sad and crying, they're laughing. And why are they laughing? Damn, because he wanted it that bad, bro. Just 2 scoops. He wanted it so bad that it cost him his life, bro. Cold blooded. Now, when you look at the deer in headlights, this is another example. What is the bait? The curiosity of the deer. The goddamn deer. What is the trap? His frozen reactions to the headlights. Being frozen in time. And you think, damn, what the hell did he see? Did he see a butt naked? You know what? I'm not funny. I'm not going off into that. But yeah, frozen reaction. The lesson is the attention became the distraction. When a deer is in headlights, it all oftentimes is almost similar to a man seeing a butt naked woman walking around through the beach. It's like you get frozen in time to where if you frozen time in the middle of traffic and you're just stuck there and you don't hear no horns blowing and hey man, get out the way and watch out, dude. And literally, boom, they just run you over. Distractions. So here, let's say the next one, gambling. What is the bait? Easy money. What is the trap? Addiction. What is the lesson? Hope overpowered the logic. When you look at lottery obsession, what is the bait? Instant wealth. What is the trap? Dependence on chance. What is the lesson? Fantasy replaced planning. You look at a scammer. What is the bait? Fast profits. What is the trap? Theft. What is the lesson? Greed opened the door. When you look at a toxic relationship, what is the bait? The attention from it that you get from it. What is the trap? Emotional control. What is the lesson? Loneliness. Ignore the red flags. What about love bombing? What is the bait? Validation. What is the trap? Manipulation. What is the lesson? Flattery disguised control. What about the pyramid scheme? What is the bait? Freedom. What is the trap? Financial loss. What is the lesson? Desire outran evidence. And what is the next one? Social media. What is the bait? The likes that you get. What is the trap? Dependency. What is the lesson? Approval became addiction. Cold blooded. What about credit cards? What is the bait? Oh, buy it now. What's the trap? Debt later. Makes no sense, right? Fast food. What is the bait? The taste. What is the trap? Poor health. What about affairs? What is the bait? Excitement. What is the trap? Destruction of trust. What about drugs? What's the bait? Escape. What's the trap? Dependence. What about alcohol abuse? What's the bait? Relief. What's the trap? Loss of control. We look at gossip. What is the bait? Information. What is the trap? Damaged reputation. When we look at revenge, what is the bait? Satisfaction. What is the trap? Bitterness. We look at pride. The bait is being right. The trap is never learning. What about anger? What is the bait? Power. What is the trap? Regret. What about envy? What is the bait? Comparison. What is the trap? Misery. What about fame? The bait is recognition. What is the trap? Living for approval. What about luxury? The bait is status. The trap is identity tied to possessions. What about attention? What is the bait? Feeling important. What is the trap? Needing constant validation. What about comfort? What is the bait? Ease. What is the trap? Stagnation. What about procrastination? What is the bait? Temporary relief. What about the trap? Bigger problems later. What about excuses? What is the bait? Protection. Protection of the ego. What is the trap? No growth. What about victimhood? What is the bait? Sympathy. What is the trap? Powerlessness. Now, what is the people pleasing? What is the bait? Acceptance. What is the trap? Loss of self. What about control? What is the bait? Security. What is the trap? Anxiety. Perfectionism. What is the bait? Flawlessness. What is the trap? Inaction. What about false promises? What is the bait? Hope. What is the trap? Disappointment. What about peer pressure? What is the bait? Belonging. What is the trap? Regret. What about the celebrity worshiping that people often do? What is the bait? Inspiration. What is the trap? Losing your own identity. What about the conspiracy addictions? What is the bait? Secret knowledge. What is the trap? Obsession. What about blind loyalty? What is the bait? Connection. What is the trap? Betrayal. What about materialism? What is the bait? Happiness. What is the trap? Emptiness. Lust. What is the bait? Pleasure. What is the trap? Consequences ignored. What about the ego? What is the bait? Importance. What is the trap? Isolation. And what about fear? What is the bait? Safety. And the trap is never living your life. And the greatest trap of them all is the bait becoming someone else that you're not. The trap is never becoming yourself. See? So that's why I say the trap does not chase the mouse, the bait attracts it. The hook doesn't chase the fish, the worm attracts it. The scam doesn't chase the victim, the promise attracts them. The manipulator doesn't create the desire, they discover it. The strongest traps are built around the things people refuse to question. So